Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act. But people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Well, the phony war is almost over, and England have claimed a phony victory, but can they claim a phony clean sweep? The rain has cleared from Canberra. It was probably phony too, and we're almost ready to go. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the crunchiest, tastiest, guerrillarist cricket of all time. I am Gorilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson. I'm joined not by quite so many Australians first thing this morning. We have regained control. The English. We have the Wonder from Down Under still with us. It's I think he's actually been sitting there since Wednesday morning, but I'm not sure. If not, he's probably been in his weather cave. It's Messi Jez.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello. And hello after a long absence, as far as I'm concerned. Any day without this particular woman is a day wasted. It's Annie Chave.
Hey. Hello, delighted to be here. I think the Australians are running scared. We've got them on their toes, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. They know that this World T20 tournament coming up is going to be an absolute disaster for them. And that's if it doesn't actually rain. And Messi Jez has been writing about the rain on the plains in Australia. When you'll be able to read that in the Smacksman this week. Fantastic stuff from him. The news is that once more Australia have won the toss, and once more they put England into bat. And this is good practice for England, because they're now showing to themselves, are they not, chaps and chapesses, that they can actually win from the front.
But they can't win tosses.
Oh no, they can't win tosses. Good point. Yeah, that's a fair point.
I don't think practice makes a lot of difference with that, though.
Yeah, if you're a bad tosser, you're a bad tosser, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, terrible. So we've got a lot of terrible tossers in the England team. It has to be said. But the news. I wonder about this. Chris Wokes and Mark Wood come back in for England, and out go Sam Curran and Chris Jordan. Now, just before we move on to the Australian team, Chris Jordan came back after a broken finger, bowled terribly on Wednesday. Wouldn't you want to give him a little bit more practice before the World T20 rather than dropping him unless his finger's hurting? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it is potentially that his finger's hurting, though, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Still aching a bit from...
I think he does need a little bit more practice. Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Sam Curran doesn't.
Sam Curran doesn't, because he can just uproot leg stumps as he goes, pretty much. The news.
Sorry, I missed that. Who's been rested? Did you say?
Jordan and Curran are rested, and Wood and Wokes come back in. So basically, the change that they made on Tuesday has been reversed. Was it Tuesday? Wednesday has been reversed today, pretty much. So the England team lines up with Jos Buttler, Alex Hales, David Milan, Ben Stokes, Harry Brook, Moeen Ali, Chris Wokes, David Willey, Mark Wood, Adil Rashid and Reece Topley. For Australia, there's only one actual change, in the sense that David Warner, who bashed his neck quite nastily the other day, he misses out. He's replaced by Steve Smith, which will enrage messages. I can hear him groaning in the background. But it does mean that Glenn Maxwell, what did they used to call him? The big something or rather, I've forgotten now.
The Big Show.
Oh, the Big Show. The Big Show is going to be opening the batting with Aaron Finch, who's not been such a big show of late, has to be said. Anyway, the teams are on their way to the middle, so I shall jingle up those taking part.
Pryor ain't no loss, 'cause we found someone subtler. Okay, he can't spell Joss, but he also can't spell Butler. Jos Buttler. Just because he is Jos Buttler. One S and two T's, Jos Buttler.
Hails, the gang's all here. What a extra weekend, what a extra weekend. Hails, the gang's all here. What a extra weekend now.
So the two England batsmen are out there. We wait to see who's going to open the bowling for Australia. One suspects that it will be Josh Hazlewood. That's Aaron Finch, Glenn Maxwell, Mitch Marsh, Stephen Smith, Marnus Stoinis, the man I randomly hate for no particular reason, Tim David, Matthew Wade, who most other people hate for very good reason, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, Adam Zampa and Josh Hazlewood. It's not going to be Josh Hazlewood, of course it isn't, just to confuse me. They're going to open with a man we seem to wait a long time for on Wednesday morning. It's this man. And it's darkening over Canberra, and there is some clouds in the sky that look a little bit threatening, but there's also quite a bit of clear whitish sky as well. Starc coming in, left arm over the wicket to bowl to Jos Buttler. First delivery down the leg side, grasped by Matthew Wade, diving away to his left, and almost immediately we have one of these. Oh, that's a very, very short wide.
That's a quick wide.
That's a very quick wide by the Triffids, apparently, whoever the Triffids are.
Whoever the Triffids are, I don't know. A West Australian band of great notoriety.
Oh, are they? Oh, I thought that was a bit strange you coming in there on popular music, Messi. But it's obviously got a local. I
actually ripped that jingle.
Oh, did you? Oh, right, okay. In comes Starc again. Not a particularly good crowd. Bowles gets a little bit in swing. It's tucked away past square leg. Should get a couple here as Marsh chases it out towards the deep backward square boundary. England move on to 3 without loss from the equivalent of 1 ball. And Buttler is underway, brings Alex Hales down now. Alex Hales, a man who has been redeemed, apparently. He's new. He's got a new girlfriend. He's got a new girlfriend from South Africa. And that always calms them down, doesn't it? I never found having new girlfriends very calming. I always found it very anxiety-provoking. Anyway, in comes Mitchell Starc. Long legs rolling up to the crease. Oh, he brings this one back into Buttler. And he gets an inside edge onto the thigh pad. Ball runs out into the offside. There is no run.
Did you find it with your new girlfriend then more sort of exciting? Or?
No. It's just constant anxiety, isn't it? Because you never know what they're thinking.
Doing the right thing, you mean?
Yeah, doing the right thing. And yet trying to be yourself, and yet not being yourself.
Yeah. And you don't want to be yourself either.
No, not really. No, you don't want to. Don't want to show me yourself, do you?
Try that before you stop changing, then, Handa.
That's a good point. I don't know. In comes Starc again. Bowls to Buttler. Throws it right up there. Big long Yorker, but too wide. That said, Buttler can't really do very much with it except just jab it out on the offside, and there is no runs. Didn't you find that, Annie? Did you find that in your early days of courting? Did you not,
Sorry?
were you not anxiety prone when you bumped into Mr. Chave? Were you not speechless?
No, I've known him for far too long.
Oh right, okay. Oh, that's a bit boring, doesn't it? Oh, geez.
Yeah. He was my elder brother's friend.
Oh, that's just easy. That's a cop out.
Really.
Stark in again, bolts to Butler, brings it back to him again. It hits him on the pad, and Wade can't get across to this, and it's going to run away for what I think is going to be 4 of those leg buys. But I don't. Do we have a leg buy jingle? I'm not sure we do. I'll play one of these instead. Whereas you, Messi, I mean, you got married the day that you met your wife, didn't you? Basically,
almost. Well, 26 days later.
26 days later.
Wow.
That should be a film. That should be a film about you, Messi.
I was amazed anybody liked me, so I thought, well, I better hang on to this.
Doesn't that just break your heart when Messi says that?
My parents got married 3 months after meeting.
Wow.
I was only 20 years old, so I knew fucking nothing.
Onto the back foot goes Butler, plays it to extra cover. There is no run, still 1 ball remaining. England have moved on to 7-0. We will catch up with the tweets at the end of this over and stop talking about our various love lives. I mean, on the basis that they all finished probably about 20 years ago. We shall move on to tweets and
Speak for yourself.
Oh dear. But there's also quite a lot of activity on YouTube as well. Good to see people joining us on YouTube as well as Twitter and
they all know about our love lives now.
that's what it is. They do.
Yeah.
They'll be talking about that for years.
God, it's gone viral.
Or lack thereof.
Stark bowls a full swinging delivery, dug out by Butler into the pitch and then back into his
Good
hands.
over.
End of the over. England have moved on to 7-0 wicket. Butler has 2. Hales yet to score, yet to face, in fact. And Messi has some messages.
Josie Oak just says more bollocks, and also we're doomed. Mog says it's been a day of disappointment and indifference. Entertain me or else. Also, hello. It's been very, very wet in Melbourne. There's people being swept off in floods there, so
What?
I hope you're okay, Mog.
Ah.
Smarty says we'll attempt to listen, but 2 of the children coughing and sneezing and watching Bing, so we'll drown you out. Also, a bit NSFCE, which I think means something like no fucks given, but I don't know exactly what. And Omre Nuovo says, good morning, wonderful gorillas, and that reminds me, we have 161 quid in the GPL.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was just about to. Outside the off stump, first ball of a new over, and the man who is propelling from one end to the other is this man.
I'm afraid of Josh Hazelwood. I'm afraid when he bowls. I'm afraid of Josh Hazelwood. I'm afraid.
That's brilliant, actually. I mean, because that is exactly what batsmen must think when Josh Hazelwood is about to run into them. I'm afraid of Josh Hazelwood. Here he comes, running in to bowl. Hales finds the edge, and he's gone. Hales has gone second ball for a duck.
Excellent delivery.
Well, that's not a very good start for England, is it? Brilliant stuff. That is why you should be afraid of Josh Hazelwood, and Hales is on his way.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
Lovely ball.
Lovely.
Had to play at it, and Aaron Finch was the man who took the catch at the single slip, and that's a really good breakthrough for Australia, which they'll be very pleased about. Hales goes then after his previous great knock in was it on Sunday? He's not really done too much, has he? So England might even be thinking about Phil Salt over the next few days. Anyway, more tweets.
Mog says the worst thing you could do is be yourself. I've found everything must be built on a foundation of lies. Yeah, it sort of starts off okay that way, but it doesn't necessarily make for a long-term relationship. Ravi Nair says some arithmetic. If the team batting second scores, as it often does, one more than the team batting first, the combined total of their scores will always be an odd number. Messi just seems to know this, but other GPL wannabes might wish to take note. Pick odd. Yes,
pick odd.
I worked that out a long time. Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably about 65% of the time that it's odd. Yeah.
You've been wanting to keep that to yourself, haven't you, messages?
Well, I thought anybody with a brain could see.
Well, yeah, but yeah, all right, thanks.
What are you saying, Messi? What are you saying? Anyway, brings to the
Sorry
wicket.
about that.
Brings to the wicket a man who performed particularly well on Wednesday. It's this man.
Introducing the next generation David.
That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name.
Darwin Milan, congratulations.
82, I think it was, on Wednesday. He gets a run off his first ball, presents the full face of the bat, times it nicely, only brings him a single as it goes straight past the bowler. Is picked up by the man running from mid-off. So both batsmen underway now. Hales may have just been trying to turn that into the onside. Looking at from an angle of mid-wicket, you get that impression, but it was a very good piece of bowling by Hazelwood. It brings Buttler down to face, and if Hazelwood could get rid of Buttler, the Australians will be singing. Brings the ball back into him a little bit off the pitch, defends it back to the bowler, and there is no run. So £161 for the GPL, that's what it's starting with.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. And you have, what is it, 45 minutes? Is that what it is? We've decided?
Indeed. And in fact, it's up to $164.
Oh, it's already up to 164. Wow.
I had 7 picks.
Oh, right, you had 7 picks already. Blimey. Well, if you want to beat Messi Jez, who is the GPL extraordinaire.
He's put in a lot of odds.
Yes, he's put a lot of odds in. Hazelwood in again, bowls to Buttler. Buttler feeling for this, and he thinks about the run as he pushes up to mid-on and almost sells poor old Dawid Malan short there. He's a little bit of a look on his face, eyes raised to the heaven as he made his way back into his ground a little bit more quickly than he would have liked. So the score remains 8 for £164. Go to gorillacricket.com/competition, follow the instructions for every guess of how many runs you think will be scored in total in the day. The aggregate of both teams. Pay us £1 and you could win what's in the pot. Hazelwood in again. Very tight bowling, very accurate bowling, but this is pushed up to mid-off and Buttler will keep the strike. England after 2 overs on 9 for 1. Messi.
This T20 business is far too quick, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We don't have time to discuss our love lives, do we?
No, Jan Brown on YouTube says, I bet Hendo walks down the street with his face mask on.
I pretty much do,
Yeah, well, that's sort of the point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is kind of.
And Marshall says, hello, love the commentary. Thank you, Marshall. Dom Diego Silly Pants is with us, as is Suda Who. Whoops, sorry, it just sprung on me. All saying good morning and admiring that ball that took Hales out. Sorry, it's a bit all over the place. Dom Diego, the Silly Pants, says, I once wrote Adam Gilchrist a letter saying he's intelligent. It read, Dear Abum Gillycrest, who is intelligentsia?
Did he respond?
Interesting.
No, we don't know.
Well, Stark is ripped out of the attack immediately. Pat Cummins is going to bowl the third over. He's coming in. Bowls to Buttler. Buttler, again, feeling for that without any foot movement. Jabs it out into the onside, a little bit aerially, but safely enough, and picks himself another single. The new bowler is this man.
Don't call it a comeback. He was never really here. He played a couple of tests and then disappeared. His body broke down like a balloon. But he's back now. Taking wickets. Watch the ladies swoon. Pat's gonna knock you out. Pat Cummins gonna knock you out. Pat's gonna knock you out. How out? That's out. Pat's gonna knock you out. Pat Cummins gonna knock you out.
Well, that's enough of that. Yeah, Pat Cummins. No, that's Mog, and that's brilliant. And it made me think what incredible variety we have in our jingles. Because one moment you have Paceman Pat, then you have that, which is also almost as scary as Josh Hazelwood. Cummins in, bowls to Milan, who chips this away into the mid-wicket area, and that is going to run across the outfield and into the boundary for his first one of these. Made me think, actually, Mog, when you go on a date, how long before you introduce your datee to your axes and swords? And does that does that make a difference? Do you see
Would
it
you like to come back to my house?
and see my collection of axes and swords? This is defended up to mid-off. Stoinis does the fielding, and there is no run. Or do you find that once you get them back, they step through the door, see them hanging on the wall, and then just scarper double quick?
Well, maybe he meets them at Axes and Sword Club.
Oh yes, and maybe he actually. In fact, have you been back to the house of another person that you've dated, and they've got better axes than you?
Yeah.
Who's to say that he hasn't already got a partner, or that he's even looking for one?
Well, absolutely, but I'm talking about at some point. This is played off the back foot. Maxwell does the fielding at square cover.
Oh, we've injured him.
He's injured Glenn Maxwell. So we're gradually knocking out the Australian openers, aren't we? Yeah, we've hopefully got rid of Warner, which you can read.
That was horrible.
You can read more about that in this week's Maximum. And
well, I'll do that then.
Now we're trying to get rid of Maxwell, who's now thinking, "Oh, my hands are not only sore, but they're a little bit cold. Oh my God!" Poor Oz. You're not used to this kind of climate, are you? Cummins bowls a short one, and it's really well played by Milan, who pulls it away to the mid-wicket boundary for another of these. England moved to 18 for 1. Milan goes on to 9 from 5.
He seems to be continuing on his form, doesn't he?
Well, it's good to see. I mean, I was a little bit worried in the first game when they decided to put Ben Stokes up to 3. I kind of thought, is this... they talked about getting Ben Stokes up the order to make the most of him. But I think you were losing something with Milan. I mean, Milan has done pretty well.
I'm not a fan of Milan, though. Not a fan of Milan.
Are you not?
No.
Oh, he's growing on me.
Well, I don't like his thoughts on Red Bull cricket.
Oh right. Oh, he tries to edge this down to third man. Actually, almost feathers it through to the keeper. Very close to his edge there. It's the end of the third over. 18 for 1. What is it you don't like about his views on Red Bull?
It's more his opinion on Championship cricket really than anything else.
What's he said, Annie? What's he said?
Well, he's not.
He's not that keen anymore.
No, he's not. He's a white ball man.
Oh, so it's not just random hatred like that I have of Marcus Stoinis.
It's totally random. Yeah, no, I look illogical.
You loathe him. That's going a bit far, isn't it? Anyway, Milan has 9. Butler has 4. England 18 for 1 from 3. Can we squeeze in one more tweet before we move on?
Mog says, "What the fuck do you mean? That's enough of that." And he says, "If I'm really lucky, she gets to see my sword on the first day."
Hey, boom, boom. Hazelwood in, bowls driven in the air over the top of extra by Butler. Don't think he timed it perfectly, but it's got enough legs on it to take it all the way to the boundary for one of these.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary,
No, I was doing that deliberately, Mog. I turned it down because I knew I'd be able to draw a reaction from you. And
I'm worried about Messi being sword on first date kind of guy.
Messi? Or do you mean
Messi.
Mog?
Mog.
Yes, it could be so badly misinterpreted, couldn't it? Defended by Butler. He's chasing to the other end. Is he going to get there? Has to put in the dive. Throw came in a little bit late. And it was Stoinis, the randomly hated Stoinis, who did the fielding. Butler moves to 9. England to 23 for 1.
I'm ready away. This is, come on, guerrilla cricket. Are we not above jokes about Messi inviting people home to see his chopper? Happily not. Keep it up.
Of course we're not. It's basically what our humour's been based on for 8 years. Anyway, 23 for 1 is the score. England put into bat again.
Butler's not being a very good judge of running at the moment, is he?
Well,
he did get there.
Either he is or he isn't. I'm not sure which it is, actually. Hazelwood in, ball swung away by the loathed Dawid Malan. And he'll get a single. He'll get a single down to deep square leg. As loathed by Annie Chave. Annie Chave, of course, Annie's a star of... I mean, she's an absolute superstar. They've been writing articles about you, haven't they?
I know. It's quite... Yes. That was quite a thing, wasn't it?
You've been proving that it's not just one man and his dog at county cricket, but one woman and their dog.
Yeah, that was part of my thing. Is that just don't ignore the women.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. All
Hazelwood.
the bitches come to that, Hendo.
Hazelwood in, bowls to Butler. Butler looks at Milan, says, do you think we can have a single there to backward point? Milan says, okay. I know I'm loathed by Anicho, but I will run through and complete another run for you. Butler is now 10 not out. Milan is also 10 not out. And England are 25 for 1.
I'm going to get hate mail from Milan as well as KP now.
Oh yeah, KP. I mean, at least you're hated by, you know, a worldwide name.
You're
aren't you?
noticed.
Yeah, exactly. I'd probably be hated by someone like Jim Fote, and no one would notice. Jim Fote. We've talked about Jim Fote many a time on this programme. And you call yourself a county cricket fan and you don't know who Jim Fote is? Oh, we've exposed you, Annie Chave. 25 for 1, yeah, as it were. Don't get the porn bot going. In comes Hazelwood to the left-handed Milan. Down the leg side, he tries to just flick it on its way. A little bit of an afterthought of a shot, but it is given as a wide, so no harm done. Don Diego.
One thing I can guarantee is when I'm on with you two, I have a hell of a lot of fun, whatever the cricket's like.
Well, we're just natural comedians, Annie and me. Hazelwood in again at the Manuka Oval. He tried to pull. That one was on him a little bit more quickly than he thought, so he didn't get through the shot, and he strapples it up to Steve Smith at mid-on.
Useless, isn't he? Absolutely useless.
Absolutely useless.
Yeah.
Crowd is beginning to fill up. There are plenty of people with buckets on their heads, which is kind of what you expect of Australians. If they haven't got a bucket on their head, they're not worth knowing.
Don't you
in my
doesn't
opinion.
your head get greasy?
Well, not if you get one that hasn't already been filled with Kentucky
okay.
Fried Chicken. You just say, can I have one that hasn't been used yet? I don't think you go around picking up used ones from people.
Oh, okay.
Hazelwood in, bowls, short, pulled, over the top of mid-on. He got hold of that one. Milan is looking in imperious form, and he picks up another one of these.
Now my end is going.
Great guns.
I hit the ball.
4 runs.
I hit the ball and it went for
4 runs. So what is the... What is,
So Jay Grover says, morning all, I've just started to wear my face mask at the shops again because Central Sheffield is overrun with disease-ridden students. Also, the Triffids were jolly good. Bluebeard mod for the wing. I've sent a link to the Triffids song Wide Open Road, which is probably their best single. Mog says, I'm nothing if not predictable and awesome.
oh, awesome,
And,
absolutely.
Jay also says Josh Butler were giving Championship cricket some shade on the TMS cricket podcast. By the time Messers whips his sword out, they're already married and it's too late.
I would say absolutely the opposite. To be honest, Messi Jez is the quickest worker of all. Stark is going to come back into the attack, and none for 3 from his first over. It's a pretty good one, although a couple of wayward deliveries down the leg side. And this is driven by Butler. I'm afraid that the picture just broke up a little bit there. A strange appeal from Mitchell Stark there, but it came off the middle of the bat to backward point, and there is no run. 30 for 1 into the 5th over of the innings. We'll have a change at the end of this over. Oh, it's so quick, isn't it? We're on. I mean, in a Test match, we get to be together properly, don't we? But in these games, it's over almost before it's begun, which is nothing about.
Gets in the way as well. It's too fast.
It's
isn't
too
it?
slow it down, guys. Come on. Stark in again. He's still got a slip, a wide slip, and he bowls. Butler goes onto the back foot and forces through the offside, beats the diving figure at cover, and that is going to beat the fielder to the boundary. It's another of these.
2 + 2 is a remember.
Now, I should mention that the new Bishop and Bear has gone to air, I think, this morning, which is a discussion with Bennett, who will be talking, I imagine, about Sri Lanka quite a bit. Sri Lanka, who must be sort of outside bet for the T20 after their win in the Asia Cup.
Yeah.
And
It's so
also,
exciting, isn't it? I'm really looking forward to the World
I
Cup.
think, as start bowls this, again it's driven, they're only half stopped at cover, they're going to get a single. Smith runs around to complete the fielding. I've got a feeling that Sri Lanka are going to be the Emma Raducanu of the World T20. They're going to
Well,
come.
that's the end of their hopes.
Well, they're going to come through the qualifiers and they're going to win every game and they're going to be triumphant. I think Sri Lanka have got it in the. They've got it in the bag.
I'd love to have an outsider win it. It would be so good.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
I've got I've got a fiver on Ireland at 500 to 1, so I'll be rich if Ireland make it to the final.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
By the way, Hendo, you might want to check to see if Fourth waiting to get in.
Oh, Fourthy. Oh, my goodness me. Where are you, Fourthy? You are waiting to get in. Can I let you in? It's all go here on the... I can't do it. He's about to bowl. What's going to happen? Admit him. Stark into Milan. Milan drives, gets an inside edge onto pad. Ball runs back to the bowler, and there is no run. I think I've let Fourthy in. And Fourthy has written a piece for this week's Maximum that will be coming out later tonight. He's been held over for a week because
You guys have been busy, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I had a week off last week. I went to Swanage, which is really nice,
What did you
actually.
do there?
Not much. Read, walked a little bit.
Sounds alright.
Yeah, weather wasn't brilliant, but you know, we had a sea view. I always need a sea view. Milan waits for Stark, and Stark is in. Bowls it down the leg side. He tries to pull. Could be given as a wide, unless perhaps it flicked a bit of trouser leg. No, it didn't, so it is another wide. This is the problem that Mitchell Stark is having at the moment. Let's do those Triffids again. There we go. 36 for 1, so still 2 balls remaining until we have a change. Who's coming in? The Bear is going to take over on ball by ball. Annie is going to be doing social, so that'll be chaos. And then Fourthy is coming on to summarise.
So Leah is your first treat to read.
Here comes Stark. In again, bowls to Milan, full on leg stump, and he clips it away, thinking about a single. Not sure he'll get it. Won't. He's sent back, although it's a rather wild throw from Mitch Marsh. Mitch Marsh is my tip for the top of the World T20 batting rankings this year. He's
Right, that's the end of him then.
yeah, that's the end of him. I'm trying to put them mockers on all of them.
Yeah.
That's a good
Mine is
call,
Milan.
actually.
Yours was Milan. Marcus Stoinis will be absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah, and Wade. Yeah.
Wade unstoppable, and hopefully that will do for them. 36 for 1 ball remaining in the 5th over, and Mitchell Stark will bowl it left armer to left-hander. Short one pulled. Has he got enough on that? Only just over the top of mid-on. I don't think that one will go all the way. Cummins follows, slides, picks up almost all in one movement, and they get back for 2. That is the end of the 5th over. England have moved on to 37 for 1. And I should just remind you, while the Bear gets into position...
Sorry, before you go, Hendo, I need to tell you to ask the Bear to do something about the sound on YouTube, which has gone right down to almost
All right,
nothing.
apparently the sound on YouTube. But in the meantime, here's an advert for Patreon. Alternative cricket commentary. Bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your... Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Oh, that's weird. The sound
weird?
has gone. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Oh, no, Hendo has done something accidentally.
No, it's Hendo's fault, is it?
Yeah, he's dragged down the volume that's going out.
Oh, God.
So I've just put it back up. That should be better for all those people listening. Please do let us know. You never know what's going on. Weirdly, this
Well,
morning...
he was trying to do too many things at the same time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, that's Hendo. It's because he's got
Hello,
his...
Bear. Hello, Fourthy.
Morning.
Hello, Annie. Hello, Annie. Hello, Bear.
Because he's got all
How are
these
you?
fucking bits of paper, these fuckers leaving his fucking studio. That's driven aerially by Butler over the top of the head of Butler, and over the top of the head of Smith, who's probably going to open today because Davey Warner's injured, and he gets a scratchy 4. Yeah, somehow he managed to drag down the output volume down to virtually 0. Man, that's quite incredible from Hendo because he doesn't really know how to operate stuff and he never really touches anything, so that's quite a feat.
It's like my mother-in-law, who doesn't matter how many times we explain the remote control to her. Still
Yes,
doesn't
well,
like that.
Butler just works out Alexa. There's no run. Hendo's coming to moan at me.
Yeah, talking whilst I didn't touch anything. Glenn Maxwell, which you would know if you got here on time.
Right, okay, that was work for a single. He just said he didn't touch anything, but clearly he did. And apparently Glenn Maxwell is opening, which I didn't know, but I would have known if I'd got here on time. There you go. Well, interesting. 43 for 1 after 5.2 overs, a reasonable power play.
Yeah, it's a slightly slower than they have been going, but
That's okay. It's fine, isn't
not
it?
too bad.
Yeah, I mean, we have
It's a
only
bit-
lost one wicket. Presumably at some point Butler will launch if he's still there. Milan's going along. Milan has got himself into form, hasn't he? It seems to me, coming into this World Cup. Bit scratchy at the beginning, Pakistan. Give him a run, and he's proving why he was number 1 world T20 batsman in the world, even though his rankings are absolute pile of shite.
Yeah.
Cummins is going to continue. He's in his second over, bowling at Milan. It's a slower ball, just drops it in the onside. He wants a single. Butler says no. Milan goes back and there's no run. Sri Lanka are 20-1. We found out yesterday to win the
20-1?
World Cup. Yeah.
Are you going to put some money on it?
No, I put some money on England at 7-2.
That sounds like pretty good odds.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Since this is a warm-up game and Butler and Milan are in very good form, is there an argument for them retiring around the 12th or 13th over and letting the younger lads have a go?
No. Nonsense.
Oh, that was the question. I
I
didn't
think,
say it was a good idea. I just
I
sort
don't-
of thing you do in junior cricket.
If it was one of these games where there's 12 players and you can switch and swatch, then possibly. But it is rated as a proper World T20, isn't it? I mean, it's an international
Is
T20.
it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's
I
worked
thought
to the
it-
leg side and there's no run. So it's not just a friendly, it is a properly rated game.
Well, they ought to make their minds up. They're billed as warm-ups, and I would have thought a warm-up is a friendly. It's not friendly, is it? It's a proper game.
No, it's not a friendly.
Yeah, I think with a crowd like that, you can't really.
Do that. No.
Yeah,
It's got to be a
not really.
properly competitive game.
Yeah, look.
That is
look
true.
how excited they are. They're waving
Oh, I
flags. and
tell you,
They got
I tell
buckets
you
on
what,
their heads.
One thing I bloody well can't stand is it's just infant. Well, I know it's infant arts for infants, but a bucket on the head. I mean, come on.
I know. Nicely pulled by Butler. It's a short ball by Cummins. They're going to come
Keeps
back
the
for
rain
2.
off,
They are, yeah, well, that's true. They're coming back for 2. Yeah, how much? How
With
many?
need-
Well, I mean, here's the question. I mean, how many games are actually going to be completed in this World Cup?
Yeah.
I
It's
know,
not looking
I know.
good weather-wise, is it?
I mean, by the end, I
Perhaps.
imagine it might get a little bit better, but the first 2 weeks could be a, virtual washout.
There are towns in northern Victoria which are underwater today and are in a very bad spot. Melbourne missed the worst of it overnight, but still got a fair old hammering.
I mean, Geelong's in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? And presumably that's quite northern, isn't it? In Victoria.
No, it's to the west. Geelong's an hour down to the west. It's not in the middle of nowhere. It's on the coast.
Oh, okay. That's clipped into the leg side. There's no one. I went to Geelong as well, but I can't remember what it was. I also went to Albury-Wodonga.
Albury
Wodonga
Wodonga is in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
It's right on the border with New South Wales.
I also went to, I want to say Silvertown, but it's Silvertown in New South Wales, like a mining town with about 500 people, selling encyclopedias door to door. We went to some weird places. That's on my-
Selling encyclopedias door to door.
that was my year off job in Australia.
Are you on tweets? I think you're
Yes,
on.
I'm on tweet. And Leah says, hello from Hamburg, everyone. Listening in for a bit before we go out to enjoy our last full day here. Oh, have a lovely time. Spangly Sai says, morning, Gorillas. Looking forward to you providing a glorious sun-filled piece of commentary to pierce the gloom on this Friday. Not a lot of sun there, but we'll do our best. Ravi Nair says, just to be clear, Anicheva and I might disagree about county cricket, but I will run through walls for her.
What a lot of love.
Mog says, the Bishop and the Bear podcast is indeed in my inbox as we speak. Yeah, I got it as well.
Yeah, it was being released at 9:30 this morning. Oh, by the way, you have 14 minutes to enter the GPL, which I shall just check.
How many have we got now? We had 164.
We have 21 people entered so far, which means the pot will be 171. As Butler gives a big slap out to deep extra cover where Mitch Marsh is fielding off Adam Zampa's first ball, who sounds like this. God, it's all go.
The enemies of the mighty fear many things.
Oh, it's raining.
Yet
It's raining quite hard.
they fear of all others. They fear Adam Zampa.
Attempted cut by Butler again. There's no one. It looks like it's raining quite hard, but that can sometimes be confusing on telly. Obviously, it gets lighted up. Well, mind you, the ground staff are out in their little golf buggies and a tractor. Mahessian is ready.
Yeah, I had a look at the radar. It didn't look that promising.
Oh, really? Do you think we're going to get a game?
think we'll get a game. It's it's sporadic, but I dare say they'll go off.
Well, theoretically, England have faced 5 overs, so if they can fit another 5 overs in, presumably it'd be
A game.
a game.
They
Well,
go, yeah.
well, obviously Australia would have to bat for 5 overs.
Certainly
and,
warm.
they would get
warmer.
they would get a revised score, presumably. There is a new calculation,
Well.
isn't there? There's whatever it is method for T20s is slightly more. They are going off. The flashing
Some of them are
light
anyway.
on top of the golf cart has come on. The ambulance for the field, as it were, and the Hessian is going out. The stumps haven't been taken down. Now you want to get them off, mate. Quick. This is a problem, isn't it? It's going to be the problem in this time period in Australia, which we always
Yes,
think
well,
is hot and dry,
I'm afraid
but, clearly
we're.
not.
I'm afraid we're suffering from whatever it is, the third El Nino in a row, and there's some warm water over the Indian Ocean. All sorts of things have combined for. Sydney has had the wettest year on record, and it's only the start of October. It's already had the wettest year on record. So it's all over the place at the moment.
Well, England have only lost the 1 wicket of Hales, and they go off at 42 for 1. So the GPL, the lowest entry, maybe Mogg was quite prescient and there won't be much cricket today because he's got the lowest entry at 266 and 267, which means England, the revised score would have to be something like 100 off 5 overs, 130 odd off 5 overs, which you can't see being given. If there is only 5 overs to play, if, for example, that's all we could play, that would be a match.
What's the statistical frequency of someone winning the GPL?
That's a good question. I don't know. But
Do you not have those statistics to hand?
no, I don't.
In other words, how often does someone win it? I should have put it that way, really. In English, how often does someone win it?
Well, this is the problem, you see, 40. If enough people entered it every day, it'd be one every day, which is kind of the...
Yeah, that's true. That's
the
a good
theory,
point,
especially in a test match, because in a test match, presumably weather didn't take place, you would assume that everyone would go somewhere between 200 and 400. If you had 400 people entering between 200 and 400, you'd probably cover every score, and someone would win, or multiple people would win small amounts every day. That was the original, target.
That was the theory. That was the theory, yes.
But you have to get enough people entering every day. However, it does get exciting when you get the big pots, you see.
And are you allowed to...
What's the biggest pot been?
The biggest pot was won by, I think it was Messi Jez in the summer. In the summer, it got to £293 or something.
That's worth having.
Yeah, it is worth having, totally.
Good.
I mean, I think he worked out he was £1 down on the entire deal, but
forgive me, because this will be helpful for some of our listeners. If a score has gone, are you allowed to go for it again? You can have more than one person on the same score.
Oh yeah, of course you can. Yeah. You can have.
How do you say it?
Well, you get to choose your own score, don't you? So I mean,
yes, you do, but you might say, "Sorry, that one's gone."
No. So you can have multiple people on the same score. Therefore, they split the pot if it comes.
They split it.
It's happened twice, I think. That's only twice that has happened. I mean, we've been doing the GPL since we started.
It's like a tied test match. It's happened twice.
Yes, exactly. I mean, Messi Jez is a multiple winner. I mean, if it was world titles, he'd have about 7.
He'd be it. Yeah, he'd be the Alex Ferguson of GPL. Yeah.
So, what do we reckon here? Do we reckon that this rain is going to go on, and we should just put on some?
Messi's
Messi
Jez. Brief shower.
A brief shower. So there we are.
I could do some tweets.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Hombranovo says, am I wrong in thinking this is Butler's first series win as captain? If this is a series, let's not take it away from the man. Yeah, I don't think he's won anything yet.
No, because we lost both to South Africa and South Africa. Who did we play over the summer? South Africa we played it. We played an ODI series.
New Zealand.
Yeah,
no, that was the test. Didn't we play an ODI series against India? Or we played a series against India, didn't we?
Maybe we did. We
lost both of those, and we lost both the ODIs and the T20s against
basically our one-day side has been pretty rubbish, and our test side has been good since they decided to do the high-performance review on the Red Bull cricket.
Yes. I saw who wrote your article that you posted on the WhatsApp group. Was that by some St Margaret's, St Mary's journalist or something?
It was a lad who's doing a journalist course. Yeah.
Okay. The knackle course.
Yeah.
You sent us a lad last. Was it Aaron who did some commentary for us? Was that from you?
Oh
Aaron?
yeah.
Yeah, he's still around. I don't know if we. So many people on the rosters at the moment. I don't know what's going on for the World Cup. Of course, that's Tony's responsibility. And I do have to add what games we're doing next week actually onto the website because I haven't done that yet. But I'll get around to that.
Department of Rosters, like Northern Ireland. Don't give me roster.
I've got a couple more tweets. I've got Adrian Lowe says, "Good morning, my gorilla chimp friends. Tuning in from airport in Frankfurt. Just in time for rain, and you are just in time for rain."
Yes, just in time for rain.
Airport in Frankfurt, eh?
I once read a book about an airport in Frankfurt. It was a very late Agatha Christie, and it was the day after I'd had my first operation with a general anaesthetic, and it made no sense at all. And I assumed it was the after effects of the anaesthetic. And years later, I read a biography of Agatha Christie, and it revealed that her later books, in particular Passport to Frankfurt, make no sense at all. So
that wasn't your anaesthetic.
No, it wasn't my anaesthetic at all. Anyway, that's
what one I've read, and I thought I'd read all of
it. Was an absolute shocker. Her later ones really are quite bad.
Was she on the old morphine by the end of her life? Maybe. I don't know.
Don't think she was on the morphine. She was an interesting character. She was one of the England's first surfers, as Annie can probably corroborate as well. England's first surfers. She learned to surf.
Oh, I've been to
Hawaii.
In Devon.
Down in Devon.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It is, isn't it? Yes. I've never been myself, but I've seen the photos.
I occasionally think of moving to Devon or Cornwall. I was looking at house prices in Newquay. They're quite cheap compared to London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I lived in Honiton.
Come on down, Bear, you know.
What? Yeah,
I lived in Honiton briefly.
I've got a tweet from Mark who says Messi and I split the pot a few years ago, and it was pretty large amount too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that sounds about right. So I guess we could, while we're waiting, before we just decide to switch to highlights because nothing's going on. Who is going to win the World Cup? Who do you reckon?
Do you know? I'm just going to feel. You go, Annie. You go, Annie.
I think England have got a good chance of winning. Who do I want to win? I'd like someone like Sri Lanka to win.
It'd be nice to see Sri Lanka win, but I was arguing yesterday. I don't know. We had a. I suppose Australia won in the UAE. There's no reason why Sri Lanka couldn't win in Australia. But Sri Lanka are. I mean, I guess they've got to treat the qualifying group as kind of warm-up games at the same time. And they had one game rained off against Ireland the other day, but no other warm-up games. And you know, for some continental teams coming to Australia, it's a completely different game, isn't it?
Yeah,
you go from slow turning wickets. Maybe not turning so much because T20s tend to have quite flat wickets, but they're still quite low and slow in the West Indies. You're going to have fast, hard, bouncy pitches in Australia. You've got to adjust, and you've got to adjust quickly.
No, absolutely. This is just who I'd like to see win. I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
It would be good to have some outside team win.
I mean, I haven't seen enough of some of the teams recently. All I will say is that a lot of the tournaments are about timing. You know, it's like the Germany at World Cups and things like that. There might be pants in between, but it doesn't matter. But England, funnily enough, for once, do seem to be peaking at the right time. I'm not saying that they'll win the bloody thing because I haven't seen enough of some of the teams, but so far so good down under.
I think my dark horse is South Africa actually. I just think they like pace on. They've got pacey bowlers, and I think South Africa may well suit them.
Possibly.
It might be slightly. I don't know whether the rain's going to affect the pitches. Probably not really. It's not really going to affect a T20 pitch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think
I'm just very excited by it, really, because I love international tournaments.
Yes, and I do particularly like the World T20 tournament because it is short, sweet, sharp.
Yeah.
Unlike the fucking ODI World Cup, which will go on for about 8 weeks next year.
It does as well, doesn't it? Goes on forever, and then we'll be straight into the football. Straight into the Football World Cup in Qatar after that.
Yes.
Full-on World Cup.
Back to back.
Enough, the only thing they're mentioning on the BBC is the Football World Cup.
What a surprise!
Yes.
Do you know, have Sky got the World Cup? Because it's an ICC event. Because the BBC, not the BBC, BT have Australian rights, don't they?
Yeah, they've got the Australian rights, haven't they? So I don't know, actually. That's interesting.
I don't know. I just really sign up to every platform going, and then I forget about it, and
end up paying a fortune.
There are platforms I haven't watched for years. I'm still paying for. I'm sure. I just can't. I need to go through all the bills.
You really do.
Well, I mean,
I really do.
Don't. I mean, I signed up. I got a speeding ticket. Went through a camera about February. It'll be 2 years this January or February. And there's this thing online where you can ask a solicitor, and I thought it was a bit dodgy because I've done enough of these speed awareness courses to know what they're supposed to sign up on the road, and they're supposed to have roundels telling you what the speed is every 2 lampposts or something, and there wasn't. I went round and I counted it, and there wasn't one for like 14. So I thought, so I signed up for this thing that you speak to an online solicitor who eventually told me, don't bother, but it was with Just Answer. And you had to put in your details, and I thought I was paying for this one question. I found out about 2 months ago I've been paying $50 fucking a month, 50 quid a month to these fucking arseholes. Yes.
Oh, that is
fucking
so
cheeky, these
typical.
cunts. I'm telling you. Oh, sorry. Excuse my language. That's that's a forbidden word. But they, really bloody cheeky. I was furious. But they were just saying it's terms and conditions, isn't it?
Yeah.
And these bastards always catch you like that. Listen, guys.
Do you know that old joke of when a doctor and a doctor and a lawyer meet at a party, and the doctor says, "What do you do when someone asks you for advice? Because you really ought to charge for it, but it's a friend." And the lawyer says, "Well, I'll tell you what I do. I give them the advice, and then I send them the invoice in the morning." And the doctor says, "That's a really good idea. I'll do that in future." Following morning, the doctor wakes up to an invoice in the post.
Oh, that's terrible. And on that note, look, it's tipping it down. Brief shower? It doesn't look like a brief shower to me,
Messy.
Is this your idea of a brief shower? Because it's not mine. It looks like a downpour.
Horrible, doesn't
it does. It looks like an absolute downpour. Look, let's switch off and we'll put on some highlights. We'll go back. Look, even Mel's cutting out because the weather's so bad on the telly. The feed's getting interrupted. We're going to go back to some dice cricket, I think.
Right-o.
And we'll keep you all informed about what's going on. And we'll be back if there's any more cricket. That sounds fair enough, doesn't it, guys? Mm-hmm. Okie dokie. See you all in a bit.
Your moves are approaching Titanic. I've one thing to say, and that's damn it. Sammy, there's birth on crew. Andy Flower thinks that you're a joker, and you need to share the stone or two. But your diet plan is mediocre. So S-A-M-I-T, let's try a poo. Oh, this jingle's nicer than Ravi Bopo High.
Oh, Dad.
Now I'm full up and I'm so glad.
Oh, Dad.
That I could kick you in the gonads.
Oh, Dad.
Was that the last ball of the over, wasn't it?
It was indeed. So Summit will not be on strike. Warwick Armstrong is on 13 off 5 and will be bowled at 5.
There's going to be a change in the bowling, even though Marshall made a breakthrough in his last over. He's just a little bit too expensive. So Brealey has turned to Ian Terence Botham.
Ooh, Ian Terence Botham coming on with the next man in, Ian Terence Botham. It's getting very exciting.
1977 to 1984.
Beefy has got boring.
Although not at this point in history.
That's right, it's beefy.
Unfortunately, both Bothams and both Graces are sharing a jingle between them.
Oh, well, that was we didn't really think about that, did we? But,
No.
you can't have everything, can you? So it's going to be Ian Terence Botham bowling to Warwick Armstrong. Warwick Armstrong has pushed that one outside the off stump. It's run away off a thick outside edge. It's going to pick up 3 runs, as it is indeed Moeen Ali running around at third man. And the next ball played by Samit Patel. He's going to pick up 3 runs himself to get himself off the mark, as that goes down deep out into the offside, chased by no man. I mean, that was a
rolled. That rolled for fucking ever, man. How can you say that was dodgy?
Outrageous. Appealing from
so there you go. Fuck off! Fuck off!
From the early era, Ian Botham has bowled a no ball, and I think that justice has been done on that occasion. Something very dodgy about these dice, I have to say.
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
Botham showing what would become in later years. It was a rank long hop cut straight to point, but he's overstepped.
Well, he took 3 for 32 against the One Test Wonders, none for 70 against the Wevo Shaughnessy's, and the next delivery is played by Warwick Armstrong into the onside. They'll get back for a second as it's chased by the man at mid-wicket. Next delivery's in again, and that's 6! And that's beautifully picked up by Warwick Armstrong, and he smashed that long hop into the crowd at mid-wicket, and he's really finding his range. In comes Ian Terence Botham, 1977 to 1983, end of 1983, and he's hit for 4 this time by Warwick Armstrong. He's showing what the big ship is made of. He's got a very, very solid, what's the bit of the front of a ship?
Prow?
Bow, yes, very bow. Yes, okay.
Final ball of the over.
What coming up? He's in. I knew that was going to happen when he starts rolling around that line. He always rolls back to the house at, and he's given him out.
We've lost you, Endo. What are you doing? Speak into your microphone.
Sorry.
You're getting too excited.
Unbelievable. I mean, how many times did that roll back over the 4 and 6 before it suddenly decided to... And you just knew it was going to settle. I don't know whether it is. It's just the way you watch it on the screen. You just know. You get that sixth sense.
Maybe it works the other way around, Henry. Maybe you're giving vibes through it, going, are you so pessimistic, it's always going to be ours at, and, it ends up ours at. It's you.
Yeah, Warwick Armstrong bowled, LBW to Botham, 77 to 84. 28 off 11, 1-4 and 1-6. The second highest score in the innings. Only Mohammad Shahzad and he have passed 15, in fact, for the Fat Lot of Use 11, who after 5 overs, having been put into bat, are 84 for 5. And that, intriguingly, brings Botham 85 to 92 to the middle.
Here he comes.
Oh, well, I'm not going to play his jingle again.
Yes, you are. Go on.
What?
Go on. He needs his jingle. He needs that impetus.
He's not currently on strike. Who's he being bowled to? Or who's Summit being bowled at by?
That's right, it's Be Fair. Beefy has got boring.
Come on, Bear. You need to give those dice a bit more of a.
It's better when they roll more. It's more exciting, Well,
yeah, except it always rolls back to the bloody hell's at.
It doesn't always.
So who's bowling? Is it still?
We're going to carry on. So Gillespie is going to be taken out of the attack, even though he's done really well with his 2 overs, 3 for 27. We're going to keep our bowlers fresh, and Mike Hendrick will be 4th chain.
The ever-dependable Mike Hendrick, Derbyshire and England, is coming on to bowl to Samit Patel.
And you make all your sponsorship deals, and the selectors don't know how it feels.
Hey, one thing about this competition, playing different teams. Hang on, is that finished, that jingle?
Yeah, it is now.
I wonder if it was Samit Patel that went all 4 volumes of that we had to hear.
4 volumes of the Samit Patel. It has to be heard.
Just to give a sense of where we are. Samit Patel is on 3 off 1. Ian Terence Botham, 85 to 92, has yet to face a delivery, 84 for 5 after 5 overs.
Right, so it's Mike Hendrick coming into bowl to Samit Patel. Samit Patel, he's started off with a 3. He's going to pick up another 3 here as he moves across to the offside, allows the ball to come level with his hip and flicks it away. And Ian Botham is down to face. Is he going to get to face his alter ego? Well, he's going to pick up 2 runs to start with, as he just guides that backward square on the offside. And so he is off and running. Mike Hendrick coming into Ian Botham. Will have played many games together. 2 more for Botham as he leans into that one and guides it to the right hand of mid-on. They come back for a second. He's in again. He bowls, and Botham, well, he's had a couple of sighters there, picked up 2 twos. Now he smacked that straight back over Mike Hendrick's head. He watches it go, flies into the pavilion for one of these. He's in again, and it's 2 more for Botham this time. Wasn't completely in control of that shot, rather drags it into the onside, but they won't mind about that as they pick up a couple more.
One to come.
And the final ball of the over, he picks up another 2 as he finds the gap between square leg and mid wicket. This is good, confident, and also competent batting from Ian Botham, 85 to 92. End of the over.
Yes, indeed. Ian Botham, 85 to 92, is on 14 of 5, and disappointingly won't be on strike, presumably to Ian Botham, 77 to 84. The fat lot of Use11 brought up the 100 in that over. 101 for 5 after 6. Sumit Patel is 6 off 2. Tony Bishop says Botham of different eras playing against himself. We're in Back to the Future or Life of Mars territory. Anything can happen in dice cricket. And Linux reminds us, of course, that Sumit Patel, on the Daniel Vittori scale of left-arm spinning all-rounders, is the big unit Vittori.
He's a big unit Vittori, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Doesn't really wear glasses yet. Well, he may do as time goes on. He's 34, 35 by now. Anyway, it's going to be Ian Terence Botham, 77 to 84, bowling to Samit Patel, 2020. And in he comes. He bowls Patel. Patel has picked that up and deposited it. He just got the in-swing a little bit wrong there, down the leg side it was going. Helped it on its way over long leg for one of these. In comes Botham again to bowl to Patel as an appeal. This could be danger for the Nottinghamshire batsman. He's been given LBW, so Patel goes. Oh my word, this is looking really good for the Beardy boys. They're holding on to these fat boys, not letting them get away. And basically, they're pretty hard to get away anyway because they can't move very quickly. But I'm afraid to say that Samit Patel has gone.
All of the dreams that I dreamed were mine are gone.
I was just going to say, it's interesting to see that Ian Botham, 77 to 84, was just having a little chat with Ian Botham, 85 to 92 at the non-strikers end there. I wonder what they were discussing. Any ideas what they might have been talking about? Maybe a little bit of byplay going on there, perhaps saying
some racing results in the future.
Oh, it could be that, or it could be the fact that 77 to 84, Botham is saying, "Come on, not really up to it anymore, are you, Ian Terence?" 85 to 92.
I think there might be a party being arranged in the hotel for after the day's play. Sumit Patel, LBW to Ian Botham, 77 to 84 rather, for 12 of 4. That's the 4th LBW out of the 6 wickets to fall today. The other 2 bowled. No fielders as yet needed. Excellent straight bowling by the Beardy Bastards seam attack. And the fat lot of Use11 after 6.2 overs are 107 for 6. And speaking of big unit spinners,
it is indeed Rakeem Cornwall coming to the crease. You hear him before you see him.
Today is gonna be the day that you get on your new diet. By now you just somehow got really fat. I don't believe that anybody weighs as much as you do now. 'Cause after all, you're Rakeem Cornwall.
crowd are chanting 3, 3, 3. They want Botham bowling at Botham.
Yeah, it'll be very exciting. That's what they're hoping for. It's been a bit of a disappointing inning so far from the Fat Boys. Rakeem Cornwall to face up to Ian Botham. In comes Ian Botham in the early years. He bowls to Rakeem Cornwall, and Rakeem Cornwall says, "You can't bowl that stuff, even if you are the 77 era Botham." You can't bowl me a full toss on my leg stump. I will just swing you away over square leg for 6 runs.
Might be the first time I've ever heard a crowd booing a 6 by their own team.
Yes, very true, very true. I mean, you can. It's quite easy for people out there to get the Bothams mixed up, but I think you will find my Botham is a little bit more tubby than your Botham. They can be told apart. And the next ball from Botham, he tries to bowl him a slower one. He gets it all horribly wrong. It's another full toss, and Rakeem Cornwall, the big man that he is, has lifted that deep back into the crowd.
Brealey's having a word. Brealey's having a word with both of them because of the 4 balls this over. 3 have gone for 6, and the other one's been LBW. So Brealey just trying to take the air out the tyres there a little bit, I think.
He was that kind of bowler in those days, wasn't he? I mean, he'd take wickets, but he would drop short, and he would occasionally over-pitch. Anyway, he's coming in again to bowl to Rakeem Cornwall. What can he do this time? He bowls, and it's a 6 again. He's 3 6s in a row. My goodness me! This time it's a top edge. He pulls at that one. Which again pitched in short, and it goes flying over the wicketkeeper all the way down to the boundary for 6 more.
Rakeem Cornwall has already surpassed Ian Botham's score, 1 to come.
Well, it's quite interesting. I just see Ian Botham there standing with his. This is Ian Botham. Hang on, we're not ready, Bear. I'm commentating, for God's sake. I haven't finished yet. You can't bowl the ball until I've finished commentating my bit between. Take it back.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, of course it is. I've got to do the run-up, haven't I? You can't just throw it in there without me doing the run-up. I think that's got to be put to adjudicators.
What are everyone else there? It's fucking.
As Tony Bishop said earlier, is that Hendo trying to invent rules while commentating? Surely not.
It's in trying to ensure that there's some colour added to this game, not just pure dice throwing.
Yeah, but the point is, you could then go on to describe the ball.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Threw it before I wasn't even ready. I mean, I wasn't even ready. The batsman was talking to the square leg umpire.
Call it a dead ball. Let him have it again.
Unquestionably.
Spirited captaincy from Mike Brealey.
So who is it? Is that the end of the over, or is there still a ball to go?
There's still a ball to come.
Right. Okay.
That's why I was like.
Ian Botham to Cornwall. 3 6s in a row.
Exactly. It should have been just a normal ball.
What will he do this time? Is he going to come off a short run trying to catch me out? No, he's going to keep the strike, but unfortunately it means that Ian Botham still doesn't get the bowl at Ian Botham because Cornwall has taken 1 there.
He's taken 1. He's got a 19 off 4. Ian Botham, old version, is 14 off 5. And the fact that Avuse 11 after 7 overs, 126 for 6. The Botham on Botham action, which we're still actually technically waiting for, is causing a lot of comment on Twitter. Jeff Perkins says Ian Botham will go blind if he keeps playing with himself.
That's very true.
Tony Bishop says that Botham needs to have a word with himself. Oh, he has. Linux Lear is cheering on Rakeem Cornwall. And here's a fun fact about Back to the Future. The Chicago Cubs were eliminated from the playoffs on Back to the Future Day.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
It was which date in October it was in 2015 that Marty McFly goes to in the future.
So Marty McFly jumps forward into the future, and in the sports manual that the evil person is using in order to be able to get rich off predicting or unknowing events as they happen, it talks about the Cubs winning, and the Cubs won the World Series in 2017. Their first title in 108 years.
Yeah, the joke being that the Cubs never won anything. Philip Shaw on Facebook says, just had a video chat and back now and missed 5 wickets.
Oh, just a 5?
Just a 5.
Go back out.
It should have been 6, but fucking, Mr. Misery Guts over there is fucking complaining.
Right, so...
I've got to stick up for myself. I mean, you people would have me bowled out for 50 the way you're going.
It's dice. Who knows what happened?
Anyway, who's bowling at Rakeem Cornwall?
Rakeem Cornwall will be bowled up by Mike Hendrick, continuing his spell into a second over.
Well, I'll be surprised if Rakeem Cornwall can deal with Mike Hendrick in the same way. He's almost metronomic as Mike Hendrick. Tall, bearded, he runs in, he bowls to Rakeem Cornwall. And Rakeem Cornwall, well, he hasn't hit him for 6, but he has got a thick outside edge, and it's flown away through the unguarded slip area for 4 runs.
Great guns, I hit the ball. 4 runs, I hit the ball.
In he comes again. Oh, and there you are. You caught me out again. I didn't have a chance to do the run.
Fuck off!
Give us a chance.
No.
It's a no ball anyway.
You are fucking taking a piss now.
Justice is done. Justice done, mate. Let me get back to my mark before you bowl for me.
The Fat Boys had a lot of goodwill going into this tournament, and with such likeable cricketers as Sumit Patel and Rakeem Cornwall, why not? But the coaches' antics are causing them to take on heel status in this tournament. The boos ring round Trent Bridge as the booze flows round Trent Bridge.
Well, as you know, if, once you start booing me, I just get even more obstreperous. In comes Mike Hendrick to bowl, and it's ended up on the end of the dice again. Shocking dead ball, I'm afraid, there from...
hang on, that should be a how's that by your logic, shouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Fucking hell, I'm giving him out.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? Rakeem Cornwall has just stepped forward and he's launched Mike Hendrick over extra cover, and he's picked up 6 more runs.
Big Rakeem now the top scorer in the innings with 29 off. Joint actually with Mohammad Shahzad, 29 off 7 balls.
Very impressive from the young man. In comes Hendrick again. It's rolling around. It's going to be 3 runs though. It's come off a mixture of inside edge and thigh pad, and they're going to have to hair back to complete those 3, but they do it successfully. It brings down to face none other than Ian Botham. Is he still out there? Yes,
he is.
Next ball is bowled through. He's going to pick up 3 more runs here, as once more he gets a little bit lucky, drags that across to the onside, but they run through these 2. They're used to running 3s. They did it in one of the warm-up matches. He's in again, bowls, and this time it's 4 runs, 4 more runs to the total. Hit this time, I think, by Rakeem Cornwall, and that they score on to what, Knackle?
With 1 ball to come in the 8th over, 147 for 6.
Bit of a response down in the lower middle order from the Fat Boys here. Next delivery is an appeal. I just shouldn't have said that, should I? It's an appeal, and it's been given out and again. Surely not another LBW. Who's that gone? Is that Rakeem?
That's straight bowling. That's Rakeem gone.
I'm a loser. Yeah, I'm a loser, babe. I'm just a loser.
Fine one-man counter-attack by Rakeem Cornwall, 36 off 10 with 2 4s and 4 6s. LBW to Mike Hendrick. That is the 5th LBW of the innings. Mike Hendrick getting his first wicket. He's 1 for 38 off his 2 after 7 overs having been put into bat. Fat Lot of Use 11, 147 for 7. Nestle Boy says, good to see the bear wearing his favourite London train station t-shirt. Linux Lear says, the Cubs won in 2016. In the 2017, the Astros cheated themselves to a title.
I apologise. Nevertheless, the 108 years still stand.
Indeed. And Linux Lear says, yes, the Cubs winning the Fall Classic is the headline in the paper. Marty looks up the date in I think that's in Back to the Future 2 when he goes into the into 2015. And Jeff Perkins asks, is this all really in the spirit of AUSAT?
I think it is, but I want to come back to the Future and think, wouldn't it be interesting if in Back to the Future 1 he went to Back to the Future 3 and then came back to the Future 2? Now that would be really innovative.
I'm sure there's fan fiction along those lines. So we need a new batter, the identity of the number 9, and a new bowler to bowl the 9th over.
Well, it's a chubby Lancastrian, Cricketer of the Year, Wisden, 1999. Good year for fatties, because Ranatunga also made the cut. It's going to be Ian Austin.
Brendan Ian, Austin Ian.
And he's not going to face immediately because it's going to be Ian Botham. Now the curious thing is Al Hodge, the coach of the Beardies, going to keep on the early era?
Cross the streams.
Got to give the people what they want.
So it's going
Ian Botham will continue to bowl and will bowl the first ball at Ian Botham. Oh yes.
Well, which will be the better of the Ian Bothams? We know which one is on paper, but when it comes to actually match play, we shall now see. In comes Ian Botham, bowls to Ian Botham, and Ian Botham has hit Ian Botham back over Ian Botham's head, all the way to the boundary for 4 runs.
Oh yes.
Good start for Ian Botham against Ian Botham there. In comes Ian Botham again. Bowls to Ian Botham. And Ian Botham has hit him for 6 this time. He's dropped short. And even though he is a little bit tubbier than his namesake bowling to him, he's put that away over mid-wicket for one of these.
Sorry, who hit who for 6 and who dropped short?
It was Botham dropped short and Botham hit it for 6.
Nice.
Botham again into the other Botham. Oh, it's fiddling around. I thought it was going to land on the Howsat, but no, he's got away with that inside edge. It's going to run down to to fine leg, and they're going to come back for 3. So just for a moment, we lose the direct competition between the two Bothams. It brings Ian Austin, the left-hander, down to face his first delivery, and it's an appeal already. Ian Austin, a man who got 80 against How the Fuck, has been out-bowled. It went in between bat and pad, and that is an absolute disaster for the Fat Boys. Ian Austin, who has got runs down the order, this time goes first ball.
Then he waddled away, waddle.
Yes, Owsat giveth and Owsat taketh away. Old Ian Botham picks up young Ian Botham picks up his 3rd wicket, 357 off 2.4 overs, so continuing to be expensive, but continuing to be a wicket taker. 160 for 8 after 8.4 overs, and joining old Ian Botham is a man who made himself a hero in a World Cup in one of the biggest defeats in World Cup history.
He did, the man who springs to his right to take catches one-handed. He scored 77 against the How the Fuck Did They Play for England 11 in a fantastic partnership with Ian Austin. But can he fare better than Ian Austin, who has just gone? It's Dwayne Leverock. Is there any balls to go in this over?
2
balls to go. Dwayne Leverock facing up to the young Ian Botham, who is in, and Dwayne Leverock, he was in good nick against the How the Fuck 11, and he smashed that one. He offered it up outside off stump. He's leant into it. He's brought through a big bat with big forearms and smacked it over mid off for 6.
I believe in miracles. You sexy thing, you. I believe in miracles. Since you came out to bat, you sexy thing.
Well over half the runs Ian Botham has conceded have been in 6s. He's been hit for 6 sixes, and he's still got 1 ball left of his 3rd over.
Yeah, well, he's very expensive on one of his other games, wasn't it? None for 70 off 3, I believe, in one of his earlier games. Well, he's coming in to bowl the final ball of the over to Dwayne Leverock, and all sorts of strange things going on there with the frame capture, but it's ended up being a single. Dwayne Leverock has just turned it off his thigh pad into the onside. It's easy one, and that is the end of the over. What's the score, Knuckle?
So, after 9 overs having been put into bat, the Fat Lot of Use 11 are 167 for 8. Dwayne Leverock, who will not be facing, is 7 off 2. Ian Botham...
no, will be Dwayne Leverock facing.
Sorry, it will be Dwayne Leverock facing 7 off 2. Ian Botham 30 off 9. And beardy Ian Botham continues to be expensive, but wicket takery, much more in the spirit actually of old Ian Botham. Linux Lear says, I'm sure there is such fanfic, but it's mostly very explicit sex between Martin McFly and other assorted characters, but none of the women have go, though, because we can't have that filth. Would point out, aren't most of the women in Back to the Future related to Martin McFly?
Ooh, that sounds dodgy.
In fact, that was sort of the plot of the first film, where he has to
rescue his dad.
Well, he has to get far closer than he should be to his own mother.
Yes, that's right.
Oh well, we don't want to go there. So who's going to be bowling? Is it going to be Mike Hendricks continuing, or Mike?
No, Gillespie is coming back into the attack. Although we don't need to hear his jingle, because like you said, it was a bit trippy.
No spin today so far. I'm a bit disappointed. It's all been pace, hasn't it? All been pace.
All sort of fast medium bowlers bowling wicket to wicket. It's working.
It is working, I suppose. Well, I don't think the Fat Boys will be happy unless they can get past 200. 167 for 8 it is. In comes Hendrick. Gillespie even bowls to Dwayne Leverock. And Dwayne Leverock has a horrible hike at that, but he's aiming it over mid-wicket. It ends up going down to third man, and he picks up 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good start for Leverock. In comes Gillespie again, and he's going to pick up 6 this time. He's dropped short. He's tried to pull. He's got a horrible top edge. It's gone way, way high into the Nottinghamshire sky, and it's dropped down the other side of the boundary. 6 runs to Leverock.
Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6.
Good stuff from Dwayne down the order. Important runs these for the Fat Boys. In comes Gillespie again. Bowls, and it's going to be 2 runs there. Rather edgy 2 runs. He was swinging that away. Bit of inside edge onto pad. They're going to hurry back for a second run, which Leverock keeps the strike. Both of them doing good running for him. Next ball, Leverock leans into this one, picks it up off his toes, up and over mid-wicket. It flies for another glorious maximum.
6.
Well, Dwayne Leverock, 3 6s since he got to the crease. Amazing stuff from him. Final ball of the over, I think it is.
No, still 2 to come.
Oh, 2 to come. And it doesn't matter. They're all coming alike to Dwayne Leverock at the moment. And this is extraordinary as Gillespie drops short once again. He was really riled up by that previous 6. He dropped this one in short. And Dwayne Leverock has just thrown everything at that. And it's gone, well, it's been carted back over mid-on and all the way down for 6.
The number of the day really hops and kicks. The number of the day is 6.
Now the final ball of the over.
Final ball of the over from Gillespie. Bowls, and I think that's 2, is it? I can't quite see that on the is it 2 runs? 2 runs come hurrying back. Good stuff from Dwayne Leverock. That's the end of the over. We're going to have another over of both of them be both from action. But what is the score now?
Well, after that dramatic and expensive 10th over where Jason Gillespie got absolutely levered, the Fat Lot of Use 11 are 193 for 8, 26 off that over, but in his previous 2 overs combined, Jason Gillespie had only gone 426.
Well, I don't know, maybe Al will be regretting that, bringing Gillespie back, because Hendrick was bowling pretty well, I thought. But there you go. These things do games change?
Possibly more both of them action. And on
there will be no more both of them.
Well, Ian Smith says on both of them action. Christ, as long as it's not that picture from his private gallery again.
Oh no, please not.
Oh God, no. The next over will be bowled by Moeen Ali.
Oh, bit of spin. Oh, at last.
It shouldn't touch. Move over, AMLO. I like it too much. Move over, AMLO. You're one hairy dish. I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
It is indeed the first sign of off-break bowling of the day. Otherwise, it's been up and down, medium or quick stuff. In he comes to bowl to Ian Botham, the elder. And there's an appeal immediately. He's trying to sweep that one. He could be in trouble here. No, he's just going down the leg side. Moeen Ali thought he'd struck with his first ball. The first ball has spin in this game, but no, it's given not out. Thankfully for the Fat Boys, he's in again. He bowls, and Botham tickles this away. Grins as he runs up the other end and past Moeen Ali. Grins as he runs back, and he's happy to back his crease with 2 more to his name. In comes Moeen Ali once more. Bowls to Botham. Botham just pushes into the offside. There's plenty of time to get through for one there. Dwayne Leverock comes down to face.
Yeah, both batters on 33, but Ian Botham has taken 50% longer to do so.
Well, there you go. Interesting little stat there for you. In he comes again, bowls, and this time Leverock is going to pick up 3. He swung that again right across the line. Didn't get all of it, but it's going to trickle towards the boundary. Can't quite get there. But the next delivery's been absolutely lamped by Ian Botham, the elder, and has gone over, flying over deep long on for one of these.
200 up.
It must be
200 up, 205 for 8 with 1 ball left of the 11th over.
Moeen Ali in again to bowl to both, and he's going to pick up 2 more runs here. He just opened the face, ran it down to the man of backward point, having to chase after that just a little way, and he ends the over with another couple.
Yeah, 207 for 8 after 11 overs. Dwayne Leverock will be on strike on 36 off 9. Ian Botham, the fatter, is 41 off 15. Off 14. And Linux Lear is continuing to go on about Martin McFly fanfic, which you can check out at your own leisure.
Don't do it on the works computer. Stay safe, kids.
Incognito mode only. Who's bowling the 12th?
Gillespie to continue.
Well, he's keeping faith with Gillespie. It's going to be Gillespie to Dwayne Leverock. He comes in, he bowls to Leverock, and Leverock is in fantastic form. That was too far outside the off stump. And, well, it's a kind of cut off the front foot play by Leverock there. It's gone flying over cover, and he's picked up another of these.
50 partnership for the 9th wicket, the first 50 partnership of the innings, 53 of 15, 1 4 and 6 sixes, 5 of which have been hit by Leverock.
In comes Gillespie again to bowl to the Bermudian. He's in, he bowls. He's going to take a single this time and just relax, just drops it down into the offside. Both of them is quickly through. He was looking for that single from the outset, really, and they pick up one more. Brings both of them down to face, and well, it was a bit of an appeal there, rather curtailed because he must have got an inside edge. He's going to pick up 2 runs there and survive. So this 9th wicket pair doing a job at the moment. In comes Gillespie again. It's going to be a single this time for both of them, I think it is, and bringing Leverock back down to face.
Yep, both of them overtakes Leverock to move to 44, but off 5 balls more than Leverock has managed for 43.
He comes to Leverock, and Leverock has slammed that again. He's holding nothing back. It's not always pretty, but it is effective, and he's picked up 4 more to mid-off.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Leverock to 49, 1 ball to come.
He's coming in bowling to Dwayne Leverock, and Dwayne Leverock goes to 50. What a wonderful performance he's been there. He's carved that over cover point. He's picking up 4 more runs. It's his second 50 of the tournament. What a man this Bermudian is.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
It's just acknowledging all the applause around the ground with my pencil.
Dwayne Leverock, 53 off 13, 2 4s and 6 sixes. This partnership worth 67 off 20, with Ian Botham's other 6 the only other boundary. And after 12 overs, 227 for 8. Much more respectable.
Well, I just want to say an important thing about this innings from Dwayne Leverock is it will have been great succour to the denizens of the small island in the Atlantic, because unfortunately this week they had to call off Cup match, which is, as you know, is a celebration of black emancipation in Bermuda. But because of the COVID-19 situation, they've had to abandon the game for this year, which was due right at the beginning of August.
I mean, and that's the highlight of the social and sporting calendar in Bermuda.
Absolutely, it's very, very, and it's been was it 108 years or 118 years it's been going, and it's extraordinary. But what other things couldn't prevent it, but the COVID outbreak unfortunately has.
Yeah, Linux Lear bringing some much-needed physics to the matter. Well, Leverock surely has the mass put into that shot, and since F equals M times A, that performance totally makes sense.
I think you're right. I don't know what it means, but you're probably
mass
right.
Times
force equals mass times acceleration.
Well, it's going to be Ian Botham to face. Who's going to be bowling? Mo and
Ali will continue.
Mo and Ali will continue bowling to Ian Botham, looking for his own 50. He bowls and he smacked that for 4. He's just stood up straight and proud, and banged it back over his head for 4 runs.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
On 48 now, Fatty and Botham.
Can Fatty and Botham follow Fat Dwayne Leverock to half centuries in bowls, and he's hit 3. I think that is it, isn't it? That's taken him to his 50 as he's swept that away into the onside. It's being chased by WG Grace, the younger. He has got that. It finally throws it in. He's a good fielder, he was when he was younger with WG Grace, but he can't prevent the 3, and 50 for Ian Botham.
When you're 50, sometimes you drink till you pass out on the floor. Now your liver's destroyed and you got hemorrhoids, and you can barely get it up anymore.
Considerably slower Ian Botham's 50, 51 off 18 balls as opposed to the 12 with which Leverock got there, or the 13 rather. 2 4s and 3 6s for Ian Botham. 234 for 8, 4 balls to come in the 13th over.
He's rotated the strike pretty well as well, hasn't he, Ian Botham? He's waiting now for... No, it's Leverock to face now as Moeen Ali is in. He throws this one up, giving that a lot of air. He's gone after it! Oh, now, did he get an edge through to the keeper there? There's a big appeal, and it's been taken by Jack Blackham for the first time. We have a catch in this game, and it's the end of Dwayne Leverock after a wonderful 50. Jack Blackham, the aged Australian wicketkeeper, has grabbed him. He just got a little inside edge as he flayed at that one, and Leverock has gone.
And we are back. That was quick, hey? It was a brief shower. Annie's on. Messi's on. So we've already fucked up what we said on the WhatsApp group, but it's all right. Messi, you're off.
Who is on? We're all on.
We're all on. No, we're not all on. It's me.
Yep.
Annie and 40. And then from 10 to 17, it's going to be 40 Messes and me.
Okay.
Right. So we're basically going to carry on from where we were. And then miss out the last 5. So James is going to be disappointed.
I'll just file away all the hilarious advertising anecdotes I was going to share with James for the last 5 overs.
Well, maybe if James turns up on the thingamajiggy, he can just take over from me for 2 overs and get some chat.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. I'll sacrifice my time. It doesn't bother me. I'm going to be doing an awful lot of this shit over the next few weeks. Oh, I haven't even put us on the picture. Everyone's looking over some dice cricket. So we are going to continue. England are 49 for 1. It's 17 overs per side. Power play is only 5 overs. England already had theirs, so that's moot. Presumably the score will be calculated at the end to include the extra 3 overs. Is that how it works? That weren't batted, and therefore will calculate a score for Australia. Butler is 25 off 22. Milan is 17 off 14. Break probably did better for Australia, you'd have thought. Zampa was 2 balls into his first over. Bowling at Butler, 49 for 1. England, here we go.
Woo, it feels like ages ago.
Yeah, well, it was about 35 minutes. It went off about 10 o'clock, didn't it?
I've had toast and tea since then.
Well, I had toast earlier. Cut by Butler. Gets it through the gap between backward point and a short man, and managed to find a boundary. First ball after the break.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, this is a disadvantage to the side batting first, obviously, having a shortened game. England have got to go hell for leather from here, haven't they, all the way? You've only got 11 overs left, 10 overs and 3 balls now.
Well, that's right. Also, you mentioned it favours the bowling side, but does it? It's a wet ball.
Yeah, wet ball. Nice.
Yeah, but it'll be a wet ball for us, presumably, as well. And the thing is, we'd have tried to time our, we've lost 3 overs of banging at the end, which we haven't really banged at the beginning.
It's much harder for us. Yeah. It's way harder for us.
Indeed.
Let's stick with that narrative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they get through? They did get through for 2 there.
Yeah,
just bunted into the offside
for
2 run. Very good running. 55 for 1 England. Yeah, the towel's already out. Zampa is going to suffer. Presumably Adil Rashid will suffer as well. It looked like quite heavy rain. Did they get the super stopper out, or did they not bother in T20? They just let them get on with it.
They had a rope.
Yeah, rope's not really going to do it.
No, they had a little machine which went.
What they need is one of those buckets that are really, really big to go over the ground, don't they?
What? Oh, no, that's an interesting shot. Under-edged into the ground, it bounced over Wade, and they get through for a single.
This is what we want Dyson to be pouring all his research and development funds into, rather than just some upgrade on a vacuum cleaner.
Well, exactly. A ground sucking up water machine that can do it in about a minute. Go on, James. In your
get on with it.
Get in your billionaire's paradise in the Philippines or wherever it is you've tax exiled yourself.
Bloody clever. Yeah. Meanwhile.
Let's get the important issues in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely, Annie.
Yeah. I've got a tweet from I can't say it.
Hombre Nuevo.
Hombre Nuevo.
And he says, almost, Annie, I very much appreciate the attempt. Helps to brighten the squalid damp morning in Chadwick End.
Well, Milan goes across his stumps trying to put off Zampa, who bowls it reasonably full, and he just hoiks it out to the leg side. Not particularly well timed, but he'll get back for 2 again. And that ends it over, which went for 9, 11. It's not too bad.
I'm just going to call him Hom from now on.
Hom.
Right.
Okay.
Warren, morning all. Mog, I'm not sure Ireland got to play any warm-up games due to rain following them everywhere. They're used to that.
I think they missed 3 or 4, didn't they? Must have been 4 now, because they didn't play Sri Lanka yesterday as well. I think they got 1 game in, if I'm right, out of 5.
Right, shouldn't be playing this one instead. Adrian Lowe, going with the bear. South Africa is worth a bet.
I wouldn't normally say South Africa, and they are a bunch of chokers, but you know, they got the sides that can do it in Australia. I don't know what odds they are. Maybe if I win some bets, maybe I'll put a 5 on them too as my outsider. Not that I particularly like South Africa.
AC Oak says you're very sweary this morning.
Wow, it's early. That one's whipped out into the leg side. They shall get a single. Pat Cummins is continuing. I don't know what the bowling rules would be. Presumably,
I used
2
to
get to bowl 5.
They've fiddled around with the bowling rules, but I can't quite
Someone
remember
gets
what
to
they
bowl
are.
3 balls in an over or something.
No,
3.5 balls towards the end.
Well, presumably 2 can bowl 5, and everyone else gets
Not
to bowl
sure
4.
how you do the
No,
half.
4. Oh, I don't know.
One does the run up.
Yes, yeah, that's that kind of thing. Yes.
It'll be like the 100, Annie.
Oh yeah.
don't
They'll
ma-
be doing that before long.
Exactly. They'll be able to change ends halfway through and over.
Yeah.
Darren
Fix your
Milan is going
ball.
to face up. Cummins is in over the wicket. Hoyt into the leg side. Has he got enough? I'm not sure he has, but there's no one actually where he hit it. There's a
he's
deep
dissected
backward
them.
square leg, and there's a cow, and it's gone dead to where straight mid wicket would be. It's managed to get itself just over the boundary, and it's 4 more runs to Darren Milan. 63
He's done
for
that
one.
a lot, actually, in the last couple of games, to the degree to which you think he knows what he's doing, and he is deliberately dissecting those 2 players.
Miss the fielders, yeah.
Darren Milan is actually particularly good at that, especially it seems to me against spinners and playing inside out through that sort of extra cover region.
I've never seen him in better form, I don't think.
No.
Unless he's going to get out in a couple of balls time.
Well, possibly.
But that's all right because I loathe him apparently.
Oh, really? Swing and a miss.
Loathe.
3 to the keeper. And
Loathe him.
And why do you loathe him, Annie?
Well, I'm not too keen on his feelings about county cricket, I have to say.
Oh, really?
well,
Is
that's
he one who doesn't
understandable.
particularly enjoy it?
Yeah, he's more for the fewer games, fewer teams. That
Oh, well, fuck him, then.
Absolutely, I loathe him.
Steps back, tries
But then
to
he
carve it
doesn't
over
play
the
it,
offside. It's short into the pitch, very slow, and there is no run. Yeah, it's a mix, isn't it? I guess professional players have an opinion, they're entitled to an opinion.
Yeah, but he doesn't play it.
No, well, there you go, that's probably why then. And he does have a reputation as quite a selfish sort of.
Yes, he's not. He's moved teams a lot. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
it's
yeah. I mean, this is the thing. It's one of those perceptions that I guess if you don't know him and you don't know his character personally, oh dear.
Ooh.
Well, you were nearly right on that one, Forthy, because 2 balls later, he's
You did,
smashed
you
it
got
straight
him
up
out.
in the air. You got him out.
Since I said what immaculate touch he was in, he missed 2 slower balls and hoiked it in the air to mid-off.
Yeah, and hence.
If only you could say something about the government.
Yes, they're doing really well. This trust will be there forever. Anyway,
love that Liz Truss. Doing a great job.
Yeah, fine. Yes. Anyway, we have to say goodbye to Darren Milan.
The crowd says, the crowd says, the crowd says you're out.
And what do we reckon? Do we reckon that Liam Livingstone gets in the starting 11? He should do, shouldn't he, in a T20?
Who for?
England.
Yeah, no, sorry. Instead of whom, I should have said.
Well, perceptibly, instead of Stokes. Or well, we were talking about this yesterday. Starting 11s for the first team. Let me just give Stokes a jingle, then we can talk about it as the game goes on.
Ben Stokes.
I think that Stokes does. I mean, the thing is, yes, he's in terrible form with the bat, but he bowls and his fielding and his presence, and always the feeling that he might come good. But do you want a bit and pieces player? Well, surely those days are behind us. I would probably go for Livingstone. What do you two think?
Well, this was it, and then I posited yesterday that actually you could have Livingston and Stokes in. If you drop Jordan, then you can have Curran, Wood, Adil Rashid and Reece Topley as your bowlers, and then you've got 8 bowlers essentially anyway.
I mean, Jordan's job always used to be as a finisher, but we've actually got 2 other perfectly good finishers in Topley and Curran available now, so that puts Jordan's place into a bit of stress, doesn't it?
Exactly. And as you say, Stokes
getting on a bit now as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and Stokes is a bit of a talisman, and that fielding the other day to stop that 6.
Yeah, you see, I
exactly,
wouldn't dismiss Stokesy as quickly as some. I think he's...
Thing is, he looks totally out of form with a bat in T20. He looks all at sea.
He's looked totally out of form with the bat and then pulled off a master stroke.
Well, that's true. You've got to get up to speed really quickly in T20, haven't you? Butler punches that out to deep cover. Did they get through?
You can't have one of his test match innings where he starts off looking
not that.
They got back for 2 again. I mean, this is really good running. I think he may be trying too hard, and he's had a good time off, hasn't he? He didn't go to Pakistan at the end of the Test series, so.
Well, exactly.
What are his views on county cricket, Annie?
So Livingston gets into the Test side and
that's the fucking weirdest thing. They're taking bloody Livingston in a Test side to Pakistan.
Well, they're taking him because he can bowl a bit, aren't they? And
well, yes, but attempted reverse sweep by Butler, and he gets it nowhere. Comes off his back foot, and there's no run. Yes, that's it.
They will need a second spinner in Pakistan.
They will, but I mean,
Livingston.
Jacks
really?
can bowl a bit, can't he? Spin a bit.
Yes, and Root obviously is our second spinner.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Root can get through that many overs.
I'm sure. Well, it depends.
Maybe he can.
I think he did when he was in India, didn't he? When he had no confidence in Bess. That's worked into the leg side. They think about a single. If it had been a better little bit of fielding and they got it back quicker to Wade, Butler could have been in a little bit of trouble, but he wasn't because Cummins didn't field it particularly well. They get no run. 2 for 65, 65 for 2 after 8.3.
Do we know what Ben Stokes' views on county cricket are, Annie?
Yeah, they're wonderful, and I love him. He is now my favourite cricketer.
He's a great cricketer.
Yeah, not that I'm drawn by these things at all.
No, not at all. Zampa throws that one out wide of the off stump. Butler drives it down to Maxwell at long off. He'll get himself a single.
My eldest son doesn't really take that much interest in cricket. He's got 3 favourite cricketers, one of whom is Ben Stokes. Another is Jofra Archer, because he just used to get him excited.
Yeah.
And the other one was Brett Lee when he was young.
Oh,
he just loves fast bowling and characters.
Well, Jofra Archer gets me excited as well.
What is your son? Is he a Aussie rules boy?
No, just
not sports.
Used to play cricket. Didn't used to watch them that much. We always watch the Ashes together. He doesn't watch anything in between.
Okay. Zampa, 5th ball of his 2nd over, has worked into leg side by Stokes. They're going to come back for 2. Good running. Just haven't seen Ben just let loose and strike it over the boundary. Mind you, he's only got about 5 runs in 2 innings so far, so it's not surprising.
He's only faced 2 balls so far, so let's see. Maybe this will be the night.
It looks like he's been trying too hard recently.
I agree with that.
He does have. There is an element of him doing that.
He needs to just chill out, because he's certainly got the strength and the capability.
You're looking a little bit like a younger Agatha Christie there, Annie, actually. Anyway, over to you after this ball.
That's
just a touch.
Googly that is guided by Stokes to short third man.
I've got my
single to any over, 69 for 2.
Yeah, you've also got the same initials, but anyway, over to you for the tweets.
I hadn't ever noticed that.
Yeah, over to you for the treats.
You're on tweets, aren't you?
Oh yeah, sorry. Is it? Well, Hendo did say it was going to be chaos, so, and I am 51 minutes behind, but that is because
there was a bit of rain break. I would forget. I would kind of miss out a few of those tweets.
Well, I just want to read Jay Grover's one that he says, "I've done enough of these speed awareness courses." In quotes, obviously not, and that's you, Bear. If you've done more than one, then you haven't done. You have.
I've done how many speed awareness? I think I've done 4 in total over my time.
Oh, you must be so aware, hyper aware.
I am hyper aware. The rules are stupid. That's driven up to long off for a single, and there's no run. Of course, I've told you many a times. I got 12 points essentially in the space of about 2 weeks doing the World Cup in 2019.
That's right.
Fortunately, I had 2 of those were struck off by speed awareness courses, and I've done a couple in the past. But you can only take 1 every 3 years for the particular offence. Unfortunately, I didn't realise there are different offences. So if you speed on an A road, is different to speeding on a motorway. So you can take courses.
Oh, so you get another speed awareness.
Yeah, exactly. So I got 1 for motorways, 1 for an A road, which is quite handy. Presumably you can get 1 for a red light camera as well. So I'm waiting.
Well, how much does it cost if you don't, if you don't go on the speed awareness?
Well, you just paid a fine, which is generally about
I don't know how much the fine is.
120 quid.
Unlike you, I've never done it.
Well, that's cut out to deep point by Butler, getting himself a single. I don't know exactly how much the fine is, but it's more the points, isn't it? Points mean prices in this case on your insurance.
Prices, very good.
That's Stokes cutting, can't quite beat Finch, who's on the edge of the circle at cover or wide mid-off these days.
He does look like a bear, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, not you. He doesn't look like you.
Of course.
He looks
Like
ursine.
he's a thick-set man, isn't he?
Fat Bear Week was this week.
Fat Bear Week?
Yeah.
Well, is there such a thing as
Yes,
Fat
there is.
Bear Week?
The Fat Bear Week is a big competition in Canada. So that is cut out to Tim May on the cover boundary. It'll be a single to. No, it's not the end of the over. It's 9.4. It's raining again.
Oh God!
So
for God's
looks like it's
sake.
shitting it down again. Yeah, and they're all coming out.
There
They're
we
all gonna
go.
off.
There we go. Thought you said Tim May for a minute there.
Did I? I might have done.
I think you did. That is going back a bit.
Fat Bear Week, basically. Obviously, there are loads of tagged bears in Canada and Alaska and places. So, at the beginning, when they come out of hibernation, they're all skinny, and then they try and get really fat to go into hibernation again. So all these they get caught on cameras, and you get to vote for the bear that's got from the skinniest to fattest.
Did you vote?
I did.
And
I voted for Otis. Let me find out what the result was.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Otis is a 3-time heavyweight champion. Let me just look up Fat Bear Week.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just comment that one of the best afternoons I ever spent in my life was watching bears up close and personal in Alaska. It's
that must have been
amazing experience. You're just in a little hut watching them catch their salmon as it goes over the waterfalls, a whole family of them. Absolutely incredible experience. Loved it.
There's a tweet. Jay Grover's asking. He said, "Fourthly, I've just finished the David Hyanston New Jerusalem books. We really got screwed over by architects in the 50s and 60s, eh?"
So true.
Oh God, it was beautiful, wasn't it?
Well, it was quite. I mean, I don't know about beautiful, but
Well,
there was a medieval precinct, for example, and there were lovely old houses, all smashed to bits. And when it was rebuilt, no access to decent building materials. It was it was a real shonky job.
Is that where the thing sending them to Coventry comes from?
No, that's a different thing.
You'll be pleased to know that Bear 747 won this year's Fat Bear Week.
Oh, not Otis then.
No, Otis didn't win. I voted Otis. Otis went out a while ago. Oh no, he went out. He lost to Walker 7151, which should be me really, but you know.
But Mog's telling us that he apparently
there was some cheating. There was
Bear 747 pissed it in.
Yeah, apparently. There was some shenanigans. I think there was 20,000 extra votes someone tried to put in for one bear, presumably whoever he was facing, in the final week.
That sounds like an algorithm.
Warren says, if only Annie Che read tweets like Bear drives.
Yeah. They'd be fast and furious. Like
and Josie 8 says the Bear is just a reckless, irresponsible driver who should be banned from driving permanently.
I'm not reckless and irresponsible. I'm just fast.
I bet.
Annie, was it Jay who recommended the Coventry book?
Yes.
Who on the tweet? Oh well, thank you very much, Jay. Much appreciated.
It looks like I might have stopped already. It looks very cold for Australia. I'm so used to seeing Australia cricket. Oh no, it's not stopped. It's still pissing down.
It's absolutely bloody freezing. Well, look, I'm in Melbourne, not Canberra, but it's absolutely freezing in Melbourne today. Like proper England cold. It was probably, I don't know, 9 degrees or something.
Yeah,
horrible,
I think
horrible
we're
day in
warmer
Melbourne.
than you here.
Although I was aware, obviously, when I went out there during winter, obviously stupidly, because I went out in January and stayed there till August. So I got pretty much Australian winter. Spent a lot of it in Melbourne on the south coast, and it was pretty grim. It was very English weather down there for most of the time I was there.
Yeah, pretty English stuff. Although I quite like spring and autumn in Melbourne. I really do like spring and autumn in Melbourne.
Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, at least you get. I mean, this is it. My brother lives in Brisbane, and in the summer it's 40 whatever it is degrees and 100% humidity. Sounds like hell. I mean,
well, you can't do anything with that.
No. I mean,
no. Honestly, Annie, you cannot go out in 40 degree plus humidity.
No. I mean, I did go. I have been to Australia, and
sorry.
I did.
Sounded quite patronising there, didn't I? Annie, no,
yes,
you would not like it. You can speak for yourself.
I did quite like Cairns and Brisbane, and I spent 4 months in Sydney, and it was quite rainy, like I said.
Yes, and I'm contractually obliged, being a Melburnian, to point out that more rain actually falls in Sydney on average every year than Melbourne. So
there you go.
That's the end of that contractual obligation comment.
You have to do that every time you talk about it.
Well, otherwise you get people like Messi coming on saying, "Oh, it's always raining in Melbourne. Oh, it's always dying." It's not. It's okay. It's fine. It's just more temperate. Agreed.
Which is fine.
Matt says Livingstone should be in for Stokes. Stokes' form and record isn't great in T20s. Yes, he can inspire, but would rather see Livingstone in the team.
But that's my point. I think you can get both of them in if you.
Well, Livingstone is a good. He gets wickets as well, doesn't he?
He gets wickets, and I mean, he was disappointing in the ODIs because he just kept trying to bang it and bang it and bang it when he didn't need to necessarily bang it. But in a T20, you just need to keep doing that. And if he gets 30 off, 6 balls in a T20 towards the end of an innings, that's really good going. You don't care. And he's a finisher. So the question is, where do you put Stokes in the side? But if you drop Jordan, it allows you to have essentially Moeen is your 5, isn't he? Harry Brook is your 5. Moeen is 6, and you've basically then got 4 and 7 clear. If you drop Jordan and you say Sam Curran, you go at 8, Adil Rashid 9, Woody 10, Reece Topley 11. Then you're
keeping Wokes out the side then?
I'm keeping Wokes out the side as well. Yeah, I think time has passed for Wokes for a T20, not necessarily an ODI, but a T20 possibly. I mean, having said that, he had a spiffing innings, didn't he? Spiffing, lovely.
Spiffing.
Was it in Perth?
Very un-bear-like word.
Well, it is, isn't it? I don't know how that came out, but at the end of the first game in Perth, he came out and knocked 18 off about 6 balls or something. So hit a 6 and a 4 right at the end of the game. So I mean, he can certainly launch a ball, and he's not a bad opening bowler. England seem to be sort of testing Stokes out to be an opening bowler as well. I mean, England have got a lot of options.
They have. They really have. I don't know if we've ever had this many options.
No.
They have. I mean,
if we had Jofra Archer as well, sigh.
Oh God, yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
I mean, Messi makes the entirely reasonable point that Stokes has never hit a T20 50, and his economy rate is 8.77, which is worse than anybody on either side.
Totally reasonable, far too reasonable.
Very, very, very reasonable point, but it's Ben Stokes, isn't it? It's Ben Stokes.
You never know.
Well, this is it. So maybe you put him at 7. I mean, he is, he's a better 7 than Sam Curran. And if you're dropping, Jordan, then Sam Curran can go 8. That's pretty. Then you've got a very strong batting side that can go deep as well.
Yeah. Now maybe he sort of represents what really used to be in the Test side, which was doesn't score any runs, but he's symbolic of something or other. And just having Stokes on the field feels symbolic of something or other.
And to be fair, Stokes probably hasn't played that many T20s in the last 2 or 3 years. He got injured in the IPL, didn't he, and broke his finger, so he missed virtually the entire season there.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of success as an opener in the IPL, and then he's been out. Didn't play in. Did he play any of the T20s in ODI? He played some of the ODIs, I think, but not many of the T20s this summer. So yeah, he has. It's fair enough saying all those things, but when you haven't played for ages and you know he can hit a long ball, maybe you give him a shout.
Yes, he's played 34. I mean, he's played a reasonable number. He hasn't played obviously as many as Butler or Hales or Milan or Moeen, but he has played 34.
Or the rest of the team.
I mean, it's a reasonable database size to say you would have expected him to get a 50 by now.
Jay Grover says, please drop Butler. He is dismissive of county cricket and his voice creeps me the fuck out. He does have a very, it's a very delicate voice, isn't it?
Here's another one. Were you on when Wade was cheating the other day, Forthy?
Yes, I was. I was indeed. I am very aware of your views on it. Yes.
I wanted to get Annie's views on it.
Yes. When Wade was cheating, I think I know your views on it.
It's like, when did you stop?
What do you think?
Beating,
you think Butler
when did you stop beating your wife? That's a very leading question. When that cheat was on
should
the other night.
have called him out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it should have been down to the umpires. I'm not sure what England needed to appeal. I mean, it's obstruction of field. It should be an umpire's decision.
It was definitely obstruction.
I mean, I was really angry at the time, but I even corrected myself in the.
Did you swear?
Oh yes.
Oh, good, right.
Profusely.
You didn't say spiffing.
And if it had won the game, England would have been, rightly very angry.
Yeah. But actually, I wasn't on, but I remember getting into a bit of a to and fro on the WhatsApp group with various people. So I'm slightly different from the two of you. I thought it was quite a judicious decision by Butler, who said, we're in Australia for a month. You don't want to start.
He doesn't want to get beaten up.
Yeah, but he doesn't want the whole bloody Murdoch. I mean, he's only got 5 seconds.
Shit about that, man.
Yeah,
just don't read the fucking newspapers.
The umpire asks, "Do you want to appeal?" He thinks, "Oh, we're here for a month. Can I do with all the aggro going on and on and on and on about it?" And I think the result of the match probably proved him correct. He would appeal, of course, once this tournament gets going.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the flip side of that is your home press would have vilified you as well. Whose side do you want your press on? Your own or theirs? I mean, if you're
whatever you do is wrong, Bear.
That's true.
Well, I mean, I kind of understood the fact. I kind of understand the fact that Wade, in a moment, maybe wasn't really. Maybe he was aware. I don't know. But I mean, he's scrambling back. Probably sees something out of peripheral. Thinks, slow him down. Da 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 da. It's a kind of natural reaction. So I kind of get that.
Yeah.
The fact is that once it's done and you see it in slow mo, it's obvious that it should have been out. And if it had gone on to win the match, we'd have all been massively vilifying Butler, all the umpires. And when the decision came out, we'd have all vilified Butler. Going, why the fuck didn't you appeal? And does it have to be? I mean, what I don't understand is it had to go through the captain, because Woody seemed to be going, that's out surely, and appealing. But no one took notice of Woody, so is it only the captain who could appeal at the time? I don't know. For obstruction of the field.
I don't think he actually appealed. He just said. He just sort of, as you say, stuck his arm out. I think Butler was fortunate, or you might disagree. Do disagree. In that, if it had been anyone other than Wood, I'm sure they would have been, Sam Curran.
If it had been Stokesy, he'd have been screaming.
They would have said, "What's going to fucking appeal?" But Mark Wood's such a level-headed fella.
I don't know.
I think it's not drinking that does that.
Well, that can work that way.
Yeah, see, I'm not drinking because it's 9 a.m. and Brian said,
I'll tell you what,
you're so level-headed.
I wondered if, I can't remember, I'm sure he wasn't actually, but you remember that Collingwood incident many years ago when it wasn't the same, but the umpire gave him the option and everyone was saying, don't appeal, and he did appeal. And that's really the only blot on Collingwood's entire career in a way. So I want all those things in those 5 seconds would have been going through Butler's mind. Am I going to look shit if I do this? I'll err on the side of caution. It's early on. I'll just say no.
Yeah. I've got a few tweets. Mog says Fat Bear Week is my third favourite sport. I'm actually quite tempted to look into this Fat Bear Week.
Well, it's over now. You missed this year. You have to wait for next year.
Messenger says, I love the thought that based on current polling figures, if an election was held now, the Scottish Nationalists would win more seats in Westminster than the Tories would.
Oh, please.
Mog says, amazingly, I gave that very Sydney rain factor message just the other day, Forthy.
Oh, right, okay.
Celeste T33 says Scotland is looking more attractive every day as an answer to the polling figures. Mog says fucking Wade was cheating like the cheaters he is, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
There you go. See, and Mog's an Australian.
He did. That's not a big contention. I'm sure he probably did.
Right.
Yeah, and Warren says Bear is letting his grammar school boy show.
Yeah. Well, the spiffing.
Yeah, and Josie Oak says the Bear using the word spiffing is disturbing.
Well,
it was quite disturbing. I agree with that.
Yeah, just it slipped out. Right. Okay, we're going to go back to some dice cricket because I've run out of things to say, and it's still raining, and we've only had 9.4 overs. I don't know what happens when we come back. I presume we'll move on to the 10th over.
I think it have to be another 3.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be another 3.
We've done most of them. Well, I've done all the games.
Well, yes, you have indeed.
Yes, so you have. Yeah,
and we haven't even got to 10 overs yet, Manny. So when we come back, we'll think up of a 3 to come back, and presumably
we will if we come back.
If we come back, that's a good point. So everybody, back to fat bastards versus speckly people. I think is it? No, beardy bastards versus fat people, and we'll see you shortly. Bye.
Fine work by the only cop who is not a bastard, Dwayne Leverock. 53 off 14, 2 4s and 6 6s. Magnificent work by him, and a fine partnership between he and Fat Ian Botham. How much was that partnership worth? 34 plus 74 that partnership was worth for the 9th wicket.
Pretty good going.
I think that has typified this tournament, hasn't it? A lot of really good partnerships down the order in this particular tournament, and that was yet another one. Anyway, it's going to be the new batsman is this Australian.
Which Australian?
Merv Hughes, Bear.
The only one left.
Mr. Hughes, thanks for joining us. Can you tell me what you think of Mike Atherton? Arsewipe. Eddie Hemmings? Arsewipe. Martin Moxon? Who? Ian Botham? Fucking arsewipe. Devon Malcolm? Pretty quiet.
Well, it's interesting running between these two.
Well, I have to say that. I mean, he's got to survive. Is it just the one ball?
No, three in the over.
Oh, he's got to survive at least 3 balls to get Ian Botham. See if Ian Botham can add a few more runs in this final stand.
234 for 9.
Not actually great respecters of each other. This is going to be smacked though by Hughes. He doesn't think about singles. He doesn't think about 3s. He's just blasted that out of the middle off the back foot over extra cover. 4 runs. 2 balls remaining from Moeen Ali's over. He's in again to Merv Hughes, and Merv Hughes has smacked that one. He got a little bit offline, and he's followed through with a big slog sweep, and it's soaring over the boundary for another of these. So good start from Merv Hughes. What can he do with this final ball? He's got to stay there. He's got to stay with both of them, and he does, but he's hit it again. He got a little bit lucky there. He went back to play the late cut, and he played it even later than he anticipated. It's gone very fine indeed, and it's 4 more.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary,
there was that wicket for Moeen Ali, but he still went for 21 in the over, being hit for 6 once and 4 3 times. Merv Hughes has pushed the total on to 248 for 9 with his 14 off 3. Ian Botham on 51 off 18. 248 for 9 after 13 overs. Durban Oak getting the 5G conspiracy theories out there. Is anyone else thinking if Hendo gets to the final, then there has been some match fixing? I mean, they do sometimes say that if you're, it's a little bit like if you're being accused of bias by both sides, then you're probably doing something right.
I think I'm doing something right. Not sure what it is, but I'm sure I'm doing something right. A lot of things
you're doing something wrong. You're accused.
Yeah, a lot of things wrong.
We're going to introduce Ian Terence Botham Young into the attack again.
Oh, this is exciting stuff. 1 wicket required and another 52 runs needed for the 300. Will Ian Terence Botham, the elder, be able to take on Ian Terence Botham, the younger? Well, he does here. He picks up 3 runs through mid-wicket. They're coming back now. It means that Merv Hughes will be exposed to a man he refers to as arsewipe. And in comes the arsewipe. Bowls to Merv Hughes. Merv Hughes clutches the arsewipe. through cover point, all the way to the boundary for another one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, what a contest this is. In comes Ian Botham the younger, bowls to Merv Hughes the fatter, and Merv Hughes the fatter is, it's hit him, was that on the leg? What was that? No, in fact, Jack Blackham has crawled to his knees and seems to have just knocked off the bails, and Hughes apparently has just left his crease, and that is going to be a stumping, and that's going to be the end of the innings. Extraordinary stuff, and what an incredible way to end.
Yeah, seriously impressive from Jack Blackham, who's continuing his superb work. An absolute bunny with the bat, but a fine gloveman. Stumped to Merv Hughes for 18 off 5 off the bowling of Beardy Ian Botham, who finishes with 4 for 71 off his 3.3 overs. And his fatter counterpart, Ian Botham, ends with 54 not out of 19 balls, 2 fours and 3 sixes. So I think that Fat Botham has beaten Beardy Botham in the Battle of the Bothams.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? 54 not out and 4 for 71. It's probably the best innings played by Botham in his career, isn't it? To actually get all that into one innings, 4 for 71 and 54 not out. Amazing stuff.
True all-round performance. And Beardy and Fat as well, so we can do 4. So 255 all out after 13.3 overs. It's a tricky-ish chase for the Beardy Bastards. Need 256 to win. I'll run you through the scorecard. Mark Cosgrove was first to go for 7 off 3, bowled by LBW to Jason Gillespie, just the one boundary in that 7. Mohammad Shahzad was sprightly, but another start for him. Bowled by Malcolm Marshall for 29 off 12, and then WG Grace was 12 LBW to Jason Gillespie, 6 and out, 12 off 3. Magnificent stuff from WG, the great entertainer. Arjuna Ranatunga didn't last very long, just 2 balls. He was bowled for 3, again by Jason Gillespie. Warwick the Big Ship Armstrong, a decent performance by the Fatlock captain, 28 off 11, 1-4 and 1-6, not scoring at any great pace. Sumit Patel entertained with a big 6, but didn't last too much longer, 12 off 4, LBW to Ian Botham. There was a partnership of sorts until Raheem Cornwall was gone for 36 off 10, LBW to Mike Hendrick. There was some crash bang wallopry from Botham, but then Ian Austin got to face and was then bowled by Botham. Stick with us for a golden duck. Dwayne Leverock, absolutely magnificent, the top scorer, 53 off 14 balls with 2 fours and 6 sixes caught by Jack Blackham off the bowling of Moeen Ali. And then Merv Hughes was stumped by Jack Blackham off the bowling of Arswipe Ian Botham for 18 off 5, with Arswipe Ian Botham knocked out at the other end, 54 off 19. There were 3 no balls. The bowling figures: Malcolm Marshall, 2 overs, 1 for 39 with 1 no ball. Jason Gillespie started his spell superbly, but his second spell wasn't very good. 3 for 72 off his 4 overs. Ian Botham, even more expensive, 3.5 overs for 71, but those 4 wickets and a no ball. Mike Hendrick, 2 overs, 1 for 38 with a no ball, and Moeen Ali, 2 overs, 1 for 35. So 256 to win and go through to the final for the Beardy Bastards.
Well, I have to say, I mean, at one point I didn't think we were going to get anywhere near 255. Just getting to 200 was important, but we've given ourselves a little bit of a chance here, haven't we?
Certainly have. It's going to be a cracker on our hands, I think. Linux Lear says, "Wow, never see the Botham of all people make Rohit look hurried with that late cut."
Indeed. I think the bear may have gone for a break because the dice are just sitting in the middle of the plate, and I can hear nothing from him. So maybe we should just allow you all to gather your thoughts for a little bit. They're back. Once the fat thumbs come back, everything's all right with the world. Well, it's all over to Al Hodge now for commentary for the second innings as the Beardies go in pursuit of 256 to win.
History awaits for either team. A place in the inaugural Dick Weller Broad Trophy final. Spirited comeback in the second half of the innings there by Hendo's Fatlock got 11. 255 all out, 256 needed. And yeah, we can just see them coming out of the at the dressing room now. Brealey and Grace making their way forward. It's going to be Brealey. I think he's going to take the first ball.
Okay.
So I think we're just going to jingle up Mike Brealey and WG Grace.
Who's bowling, Hendo?
Well, it's an interesting one. WG Grace has come out to open. I'm just going to hold back WG Grace for now. May come on and bowl some of his medium pace stuff a little bit later, but I'm going to open the bowling with none other than the man who is holding this fat team together by the skin of its gut. It is indeed going to be Dwayne Leverock, left arm round.
I'm just registering you at that mental image.
You feel the earth move under your feet when Dwayne comes tumbling down. You feel the stand start to trembling when Dwayne Leverock goes down.
Well, there's method in my madness, because of course when Dwayne Leverock got 77 in his in one of the previous games, he then came out and took 3 for 27. So let's see if that batting performance has inspired him to do something great with the ball as well. Over to you, Al.
Okay, thank you very much, Hendo. Good luck in the second innings, and it's Brealey who's going to take strike, and he is going to drive that ball straight past Leverock, and there's a man down there at long leg, and they're going to take 3 runs off that first ball. A good start to the innings there for Brealey, bringing Grace onto strike. So Leverock comes in for the second ball, and Grace is easily just going to work that ball just to the left-hand side of mid-wicket and just jog through for an easy single, bringing Brealey back onto strike. Leverock getting through his over pretty quickly, and Brealey's rocked back and cut that behind square, and it's 4 runs, first 4 of the innings. Oh, and it looked for a moment as if there might be something in the offering there for Leverock, but it's just been chipped ever gently back over Leverock's head, and they'll take an easy 2, and Brealey moves on to 9. More of the same, quick running between the wickets, good communication between Grace calling through Brealey for that second run, for that ball just pushed through to square. Boundary Rider's throw, not able to cut that off in time, and it's another 2. Brealey moves on to 11, last ball of the over. Oh, and Leverock's gone up. Oh, he's out! He's out. Brealey has played all around a straight. We played for turn that just simply wasn't there, and Leverock has swooped into strike with the last ball of the first over. A disaster there for the Beardy Bastards, and that's the fall of the first wicket with 12 runs on the board.
Yes, indeed. Mike Brealey gone for 11 off 5 with 1 4 after 1 over. The Beardy Bastards 12 for 1 in reply to the Beardy Bastards 255.
Well, taking pace off the ball seems to be maybe the way to go. Although there was a lot of pace bowling in the first innings. I'm going to turn to the man to bowl, to WG Grace. It's going to be none other. I'm not going to mess around at all. It's going to be WG Grace.
Oh yeah.
And
it covers 2 spots.
Had both on both, and we have Grace on Grace. Who's at the non-strikers end, by the way, Al? Who's your number 3?
The non-striker, who will probably jingle up when he comes to face his first ball, is going to be Moeen Ali.
We'll do him now.
Good now.
Touch. Move over, AMLO. I like it too much. Move over, AMLO. You're one hairy dish. I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
Lennox Lear says, specialist captain playing a specialist captain's knock.
Well,
True enough. True enough. He did get a century in his last inning, so a bit disappointing there from Brealey, but it's fat WG Grace coming into bowl to thin WG Grace. And it's been punched away by thin WG Grace. Fat WG Grace not really troubling him at all with that ball, and he's driven that ball through cover point, and it's 4 runs.
I will say that WG Grace bowling to WG Grace is the game that WG Grace dreamed of.
It certainly is, and thin WG Grace is having the time of his life as he just rocks back gently in his crease, and he pulls this away, and it is high, and it is hard, and it is 20 rows deep in the crowd. 6 runs. Oh, and with an almost identical delivery, Grace thin Grace almost teasing Fat Grace there, just dropping the ball short, and Ali is as quick as a jackrabbit, and he'll take strike, but Grace has moved on to 12.
Oh,
what a return by WG Grace. Oh, he's not. Umpire Strikes Back has turned around and said that is not out for Fat WG Grace, who seems bemused that anyone has ever said no to him in his life, but nevertheless, Ali remains, having avoided the golden duck, and he turns around, and after a short run up, Grace comes in short of a length outside of stump. Rank nonsense from Fat WG Grace, and Ali cuts that away for 4 runs.
One to come.
Last ball of the over. And Ali has driven that ball through the sort of extra cover region. Seems that it's not going to quite get there. Good fielding there by Merv Hughes on the boundary, and he's sent that in. It's 3 runs. Ali will retain strike on 7, and WG Grace thin on 12.
Yeah, 7 off 3 and 12 off 4. 30 for 1, the Beardy Bastards, after 2 overs. Need 226 more to win. Craig Nutley asked the question we are all asking: what the fuck?
Absolutely.
Yes.
The fair question at any time, particularly these times.
Indeed. Well, I mean, you would have been great if you'd been supporting the How the Fuck Did They Play for England 11 back earlier in the tournament, if you'd joined us. But what the fuck will do.
Indeed.
Right, well, it's going to be Dwayne Leverock to continue. Left arm round the wicket.
Moeen Ali will face.
Oh! How was that?
And he's bowled him!
Yes, he didn't even... I thought he just... Oh!
Not even offering a shot, Ali. A categoric, terrible choice. Why on earth would he have left that straight one alone? And Leverock has bowled him. Disaster for the Beardy Bastards.
Why indeed, Moeen Ali, categorically and statistically the greatest hitter of spin bowling in modern T20 cricket over a very long period of time. Shouldering arms and bowled by Dwayne Leverock, the demon non-turner, beloved of the likes of Rangana Herath. Moeen Ali gone for 7 off 4 with 1 for 30 for 2 after 2.1 overs, and this brings another lusciously bearded, lusciously elegant batter to the middle.
It certainly does.
Was it Mohammed Yusuf?
Mohammed Yusuf was on number 4 batsman. Let's hope that Yusuf will solve the conundrum that is Dwayne Leverock.
Oh no!
And Leverock's gone up again. He's been given.
Oh, Leverock's on fire.
That's a hat trick.
Is it a hat trick?
It's a hat trick. Yes, it is. Over 2 overs.
Oh my word!
Whoa, Dwayne, my boy. Oh, extraordinary.
The ball just got on the full.
Did that catch him on the boot? Did that catch him on the full on the boot?
Full on the boot, not even. Just completely deceived in the flight, Mohammed Yusuf, and he trudges like a man who had known he's let his entire side down, and it's 30 for 3, and it's all falling around the ears of the Beardy Bastards 11.
Yeah, recognising the tactic of bowling very wicket to wicket worked so well for the Beardy Bastards. bowlers, and Dwayne Leverock had Mike Brearley, LBW, off the last ball of his first over, and then Moeen Ali bowled Mohammad Yusuf, LBW, a high-class hat-trick for Dwayne Leverock to follow up his heroics with the bat, where he scored 53 off 14. What a day for the big Bermudan.
Well, on a day where he knows that he's representing the, as you said, the cultural, the sporting highlight of the Bermudan nation. He really has taken them all on his shoulders, so it appears. Let's just hope that the number 5 batsman will turn round and cause a bigger turnaround as Leverock did in the first innings. Paul Sterling will come and face.
This is my ride. Don't you be getting out. He won't be getting out. Who am I talking about? Paul Sterling. He bats so pretty, yeah? He's gorilla, yeah?
Well,
it's all talk about hanging delicately by a thread this entire innings. From Sterling acts as if there has been nothing going on but good things in the innings so far. One step down the pitch, straight down the ground, one bounce, 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, bounce.
Oh, he's a danger.
He is certainly a danger. And Leverock's up again. Hendo can't believe that how's that thing is working. Oh, and there's...
I can't see the dice!
No,
it jumped out. They're still debating.
It's still debating, and it's going to be rolled again. And he's been stumped!
Oh, brilliant work by Mohamed
Sterling just dragged his back foot forward. And as quick as you like, the bails have been removed. And Sterling's going to have to go. Sterling's going to have to go 34 for 4.
Lightning Donny-esque hands from the big man behind the stumps. No take back towards the body at all, just shoving the gloves forward and knocking off the bails. Paul Sterling gone for 4 off 2, stumped by Mohammad Shahzad. Dwayne Leverock, who went for 12 off the first 5 balls of his spell, has since taken 4 for 4 in his last 5 balls. 34 for 4, the beardy bastards.
Well, is that the end of the over? It means that...
No. 2 to come. 2 to come.
Oh, 2 to come. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Could get 6.
One to come. 4 wickets and a 4.
No, 2 to come. It's been 3 wickets and a 4 in this over.
3 wickets and a 4. Sorry, I'm losing count of how many wickets have been taken in this over. Well, we've had grace on grace. Now it's time for Finn Botham to step to the crease. Ian Terence Botham got striding in, number 6.
That's right, it's Beefy. Beefy has got boring. Yes. That's right, it's Beefy.
So, 34 for 4. No good time for... There's no more time for a thin Botham innings than now. 34 for 4. 2 to go from Leverock in this quite amazing over.
Oh, yeah! Oh, get in there!
He's turned to the umpire again, and he's got him!
Oh, my
Botham
word.
with a golden duck. Botham with the golden duck. It's 35 for 5.
34.
Oh, 34 for 5.
I really do have to read this again to do this justice, as Ian Botham departs bowled for a golden duck by Dwayne Leverock, the second beardy bastards.
We're back, are we?
We are indeed back.
We're
We
back.
are indeed back. The players are wandering out. There's been a slight juggling of our rotors. So we're now down to 12
Yes.
overs. 12 overs.
Beautifully
So,
done, if I may say so, Tony.
Well, on the fly. Yeah, the last one
12
was...
overs. In fact, we've got 14 balls to complete England's innings, and they've got 8 wickets
And
in
actually,
hand.
you're going to take us
fair
through
to
them,
s-
Forthy.
Yes, I am. Fair to say that wickets is not the problem for England here. They're just going to have to go absolutely hell for leather.
Well,
It's,
I can only
I'm
assume
not
that
su-
they will surely give Australia an adjusted target that is higher than it otherwise would have been, because England, of course, have been pacing their innings on the basis of initially of 20, then of 17. It's a bit harsh. So what do you think they might add?
I reckon they'll add about 20 to whatever
I was
comes
going to
up.
say about 20. 20 feels about right to me too. Eventually, 12
think
overs
there's someone in
side.
it-
Power play is
someone
1
in
to
it.
4. Yeah, power play is 1 to 4, and bowlers can bowl. 2 bowlers can bowl 3, and the other one, 3 bowlers can bowl 2. 2 and
It's a
3.
shame
3
in
and
a way
2.
they don't sit in a room and say about 20 feels about right. They're probably plugging it into a machine now.
Well, they do. It's Duckworth-Lewis,
Oh,
isn't it?
really? That's so dull.
If Duckworth-Lewis worked with WinViz, that's how they do it. Well, what do you think?
WinViz.
Oh, about 20. Give it
I
that.
feel
20, I
sorry for
reckon about
Mr.
20.
Stern, who never gets a mention.
Was he
Stern.
the-
Duckworth-Lewis Stern, yes.
Was Duckworth-Lewis Stern, right? Yes. I used to work in an advertising agency that was
Did
Bose
you? You've never
Massimi
mentioned that.
Pollitt. I have, yeah. And Bose Massimi Pollitt, and the middle guy, Massimi, left after 6 months, but his name was over the wall for the next 50 years. So you just got to be in the right place at the right time sometimes. haven't you?
Well, yeah, that is true.
But
That is very true.
came back from America once and said, the receptionist said, "Who are you?" He said, "That's me up there. I am Massimi."
Is it
anyway?
determinative
let's get back to-
nomenclature when your name describes you? Is that what it is?
Oh, that's
or is that when it's a job?
Nominative
Oh,
determinism.
yes, nominative determinism.
Yes.
I wonder if he is Stern or was Stern. Always
Well,
angry.
they used to say in English literature when Swift was Stern, Stern was Swift, of course. We all know that one. Talking
we?
about
Do we?
talking about Lawrence Stern and Jonathan Swift, I'm sure.
Oh,
all
Jonathan!
familiar.
I assumed you were talking about Jonathan Swift.
Yes, but Lawrence Stern, who wrote Tristan Shandy, of course.
Oh, of course.
Life and
Yes,
Times.
yes.
There's a man running off the field who's one of the groundsmen, who's actually a cartoon character because his legs move an awful lot, but he doesn't go anywhere.
Anyway, 40. We're off. Lord above.
First of the 14 balls, Maxwell bowls it, and it's heaved over deep extra cover for 6 of these. Well done, Ben Stokes.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lift.
We've been waiting for the cricket for so long, it rather took us by surprise when it started. But 6 off the first of the 14 balls, so you can't get any better than that. Well, I suppose you can. You can get 3 and 4 overthrows. I have seen a 7 once in a test match, which was the old Oval, but 6 will do. Stokes facing up to the last ball of Maxwell's very elongated first over. Can't quite repeat the same on that ball. Certainly on the 6 it might be going for fielded on the boundary. They've just come back, fielded by Smith in the long on boundary. Come through for 2. That's the end of Maxwell's first over. It went for 12. Butler's on 38. Stokes is on 13. England 81 for 2. How are we looking on tweets, Messi?
Very quiet. The only tweet is there is Colin Sutter responding to the concept of Scotland, the Scottish nationalists having more seats at Westminster than the Tories. He said the ideal would be if Labour needs Scotland to form a coalition, and part of the agreement is a referendum. Because that would be nice, wouldn't it? Everybody gets what they want, except the Tories.
That's the Slovene question.
In a way, you know, I think this situation's tailor-made for Ben Stokes, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
No
Got nothing
blame.
to lose.
Just
It's
go
not like this.
hell for leather.
Not like there isn't plenty of batting left in the shed.
I mean, it really does sort of put the S in silly cricket, doesn't it?
It does kind of. I mean, it's only because there's a crowd in. The respectable thing would be to say, should we call it off? But let's keep going. Hazelwood on for his 3rd over. Managed to get 3 overs in this reduced 12-over match, but never mind. In he comes, and Butler launches that to deep extra cover. 1 bounce, 4 runs.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Yeah, the bowling under the new playing conditions of 12 overs was 3 and 2 and 2 and 3. So 3 bowlers can bowl 2 overs and 2 bowlers can bowl 3 overs. And so
I guess that's how you get to 12, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, yes. Very good.
There's so many shots disappear in exactly that spot. You'd think maybe... I know they're hit very powerfully and there are fielders vaguely in the proximity, but I'm not sure about the fielding accuracy. In comes Hazelwood again for his second ball of the over. That one is pulled, and this one goes one bounce to the deep square leg boundary.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's just going to be a blitz
moves
fest,
on to
isn't
46 off. Yeah, Butler moves on to 46 off 34, and we've got 10 balls of this slightly absurd proposition of a test match.
Well, it's like
T20 left.
Overs 19 and 20, really, isn't it? And you've only got 2 wickets down. You do what
even
you
more.
can.
Well, even more so because we've only got 2 wickets
Yeah.
down. Yes, they would have been accelerating before now. To be fair to them, they've come out of the sheds and really hit their straps so far. Been put a hex on David Milan earlier in the innings. Try not to do that again. And Butler has managed to negotiate very skillfully between 2-point fielders down to the boundary for, guess what, 4 more of these.
You did rather sound, as an ex-ad man, like a planner criticising a creative brief there. A rather absurd proposition.
Rather
And
absurd proposition.
It made me think of the critique of a creative brief.
I am a planner by trade.
Well,
as well.
that's what I
might
thought. Yeah.
I might have said that earlier in the week to somebody's rather absurd proposition. In fact, now then, 10 ball training, 9 balls to go. Hazelwood 4. What's this one going to be? It's straight past Hazelwood's left arm like a tracer bullet, but there's a man down at long off, and it's fielded, so they just come back from 2. That breaks the pattern of 4s.
I'm with Mog on this. He says it's all a bit fucking pointless, really. They should just let the teams do a couple of laps around the boundary, handing out t-shirts and socks, then close it down.
Well,
then that's
yes.
T20 generally is pretty pointless, isn't it?
Yeah, it's rules are rules. We might as well just give it a go. Everyone's turned up. It's a nice evening. I'm sure people are kind of, been looking forward to this for some time. In comes Hazelwood for the 5th ball of the over. Full and wide, but not too wide. That it has gone for a wide. That's a superb piece of fielding, actually, on the boundary by Maxwell. Diving full length, managed to cut off 4, and they come back to 2. Well done to him.
Magnificent piece of fielding to
It really was.
fling himself and to keep hold of the ball and get the throw in sort of almost one sweet movement. It was a sort of poetry in motion, particularly the slide that went with it.
Possibly aided by the wet grass. 16 so far off Hazelwood's penultimate over.
Is that
And
the
he's got
Fingleton?
one-
Is that the Fingleton scoreboard with the clock on top?
Yes, it is.
Apparently, he was a political journalist.
Hazelwood in the last ball of his over drops it short, and an almighty heave disappears over the deep square leg boundary for 6 of these. That is 1 expensive over.
You came out of your hand and into my zone. Now it's up in the stands. It's a 6. It's beautiful and it's mine.
Yeah, apparently after his cricket career, Jack Fingleton became a political journalist, and he worked at Government House, which of course is very approximate to the Manuka Oval, isn't it? And
Yeah, it
that's,
is,
that's
yeah.
one of the
It's
reasons they moved his
the
scoreboard there.
groundsman's house, I think. Yeah.
Manica,
I beg its
Oh, you
pardon.
pronounce it Manica.
Larnaca.
Local knowledge. Local knowledge. Thank you, Messi. Well, that was a mess. Thank you, Messi, and that was a messy over from Josh Hazelwood. It went for about 2024, I think it was. So that's blotted his copybook. Last over, Maxwell is going to bowl it. An almighty heave from Ben Stokes, but he can't really quite get hold of it. Trickles down to deep square leg, and they hurry back for 2. Might as well.
There's also 2 rather hairy individuals, one of whom got his pint spilled after that last 6, so that was pretty messy as well.
It was messy. It's all very messy. England are 105 for 2 with 5 balls to go. It's a bit hard to know how to read that score because there aren't any norms to compare it with, really, but that is what it is. Second ball of Maxwell's last over. and he kind of flings it very round arm style, successfully as it turns out. He's laughing, everyone's laughing, just a single off it, and that gets Butler back on strike. We're seeing the incident with the two men jostling for it.
I have a distinct impression they might have had a few beers before the ones that got spilt, to be honest.
They rather look like they could be candidates in the Fat Bear competition as well, which is running in Canada.
I was thinking NASCAR racing when I saw them, but obviously wrong country.
4 balls to go. 4 balls of our stint together. In comes Maxwell, round arm, and it's gone way up into the Manukan sky, and it lands in the middle of 3 fieldsmen, and they come back for 2. So 2-1-2. This is pretty successful so far from Maxwell. England move on to 108 for 2. Butler's on 62. There was probably a 50 to him somewhere in there that we might have forgotten to mention. Stokes on 60.
I should issue a general warning. Mog is getting agitated. Not by you.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's always bad news for everyone. A huge swell, a round bowl, bowl, a massive swipe. This is barely cricket. It goes down to the long on where Smith does the fielding. Must be wondering what's happening out there. What is going on out there? That is another 2. Oh, really, that was such ugly cricket all round, wasn't it? Everything they taught you at school went out the window there, but fair enough, it's T20. The run rate is 9.43.
T12.
England are on 110 for 2.
To be precise.
2 balls to go. Who knows whether this is a good score or not. Butler heaves Michael, but doesn't get hold of it, and it goes out to the sweeper on the leg side, and they just come through for 1. He moves to 65, which is where he'll stay. There's 1 ball of this truncated session to go, this truncated innings. England 111 for 2. Stokes on strike. He's 16 off 9. Maxwell's actually done pretty well here. He's just gone for 8 so far off his first 5 balls. Can he finish well for Australia? 1 ball to go.
Managed it the other night, didn't they? Wasn't it the last 3 overs all went for 6 off the last ball?
Yeah.
In he comes. Big heave, of course. Down the ground, and for it's cut off. So they'll probably come back to 2, I imagine. Just the 1, in fact.
Just the 1.
So that is the end of the innings. England 112 for 2, Butler 65, partnership of 48. Stokes finishes on 16 off 9. Maxwell did well in that last over. Just went for 21 off his 2 overs. That's pretty good going in a match like this. Well, gentlemen, what can we say?
Well, they might
I predict that the target will be 135.
Oh, okay.
And I should warn you. So Mog says, and now the buggers upstairs are playing shitty dance music. If they persist, there's going to be some fucking White House at maximum volume, rattling the fillings from their fucking teeth. So watch out, Mog, because he's not that. Forthy, because he's not that far from you, is he?
Well, he's about 15 kilometres, but that may not be far enough.
Fair enough.
In this sort of
There was a moment where I thought Stokes was out, but watching a quick replay there, he wasn't, because he slipped over as he tried to turn to turn the final 1 from 2 to 3. But the Dettol third umpire has disinfected his thinking and confirmed it was in fact not out.
Oh dear.
Yes, well, okay. I cannot believe they'll need 10 minutes rest in between.
Well, hopefully they won't. Presumably they.
Please let them.
Well, we'll just muddle through.
Well, shall we?
I've got a few
we
more
should
tweets to get
keep
through anyhow.
nattering.
I guess I think I'm off for the first 5 overs, so I'll disappear.
I
Is
need
that
to
right?
consult my latest rotor iteration.
Yeah, I think Tony, Annie, and I are on for the first.
Indeed, it
All
is,
right.
and then you're
Well,
back to see us home, Forthy.
I'll see you in over 6, all being well.
Okay. Jay says, I thought 2020 were an aspiring bish bang bosh fast-paced form of game. It seems to have become incredibly prolonged, highly confusing, and rendered even more shit because of the weather. And he also says, I think everyone should just have a pitched brawl. At least then we can see where these injuries come from. And he also says, Fingland were renowned for his journalism and his O'Reilly's Catholic hatred of Bradman. Quite justified, if I may say. When Bradman got dismissed for a duck in his last innings, it were reported, in regard to Mrs. Fingleton and O'Reilly, there was not a dry eye in the house. I would have been happy too. Mog says the English should be suited to this because it's basically a 100 match. yeah. And Steve Kellett says Australia may not have NASCAR, but they do have Bathurst, where 100,000 hoons show up for a fight and the car race breaks out. That's a fairly good description of Bathurst, actually. It's weird. But then again, so is motor racing generally. So yes, we're up to date on tweets anyhow, Tony. What do you reckon is going to happen now? Just more chaos?
It'll be interesting to see what total Australia do now have to chase and what the adjustment is. You say 135. You'd have to say the advantage is still massively with the chasing team under a set of circumstances where things have been adjusted as they are. I think no more rain. It'll be a bit of fun, but I would expect Australia to end up winning the bit of fun from most likely, I would say. I think if you look at that first innings, I think Milan once again came out of it with a degree of credit, didn't he? Once more, if I'm right. Let me look at the
I think he did all right, yeah. Although Annie does hate him, so we have
23 off 19. Well, that's because he jumped on the county cricket's not very good. Oh no, that was Joss Butler, wasn't it? But it's funny how she doesn't quite hate Joss. Joss Butler is superb, 65 off 41.
Yeah.
So well done him. Hales, everyone can have a bad day at the office, but Phil Salt will be sniffing the air, thinking there might be opportunity, perhaps. But yeah.
Well, I mean, say you were to leave Stokes out of the England team, who would you put in there in place of him?
Well, I think Livingston is the hard hitting multiple bowling
so Salt
option.
Still doesn't get a spot.
Yeah, I mean, we had this interestingly enough on in the Bishop and Bear yesterday, which is in your inboxes, by the way, if you're a Patreon of Guerrilla Cricket. That has arrived. A very interesting chat with Bennett. What sort of did we cover? Obviously, this series to date. What would England's best team in the World Cup be? So we spent a lot of time talking about the Stokes question, and we came to the conclusion it was Livingston. However, I think we all also agreed that Stokes will be nailed on literally because he's Ben Stokes. And we gave the example in the second match where, again, although he didn't make many runs, what did he make? 12? Maybe less, I can't remember. He took a wicket with the first over, opened the bowling, and it was the key wicket of Mitchell Marsh, who was on 40-something at the time. And he pulled off the most incredible piece of fielding that saved vital runs. So we felt that England's new way of thinking, that X factor, will keep Stokes in the side, regardless of him not necessarily being the best bet. It's the same reason Crawley keeps his test place and his test contract when others haven't, because they just know something can happen. It may not happen on any one given day. I think England have heavily invested in the idea of X factor players, and Stokes may not be in the best 11 as a bowler, he may not be in the best 11 as a batsman, but as an all-round package he is in the best 11, and I think that's where England's thinking is.
Yeah, well, I think it's bad thinking myself, but never mind. If it was ODIs, yes, I might go with that, but I think in T20s, nah. You got people who are more reliable, and yeah, still, when I say that neither Smith nor Stokes should be anywhere near the team, I'm the guy who said Johnny Bairstow shouldn't be anywhere near the English Test team. So,
well, he isn't.
My prediction record's not exactly great. Well, he isn't now.
He's in the BT Sports studio in London.
Yeah.
So we've, I mean, not to put peek behind the Guerrilla shower curtain, but in our green room, we'll always have the live feed from the studio, so we're listening to whoever is on. So obviously we know what they've been talking about. We also have the TV on as well. And Bairstow, the one question he hasn't been asked as he's sitting there with his kind of orthopaedic boot on is, tell us really, Johnny, what happened?
Oh, by the way, you might be interested to know that the Times is just running a story that Liz Truss is set to sack Kwasi Kwarteng as Chancellor. So it's all going on in Britain, isn't it?
Well, that's I mean, talk about, hanging. I mean, obviously he's proven himself. The one thing you would hope a chancellor is fully aware of is how the financial markets work and the concept of borrowing and an ability to pay it back. If you don't know those two things, then you're not really very good at your job. On the other hand, she pushed him into it and is now hanging him out to dry. So she won't emerge with any credit either way. And what's she going to do? Bring back Sunak?
Well, I think it's all part of the plot to get Boris back as Prime Minister myself. But, and I'm really into conspiracies like that.
Well, we should really concentrate on the cricket. The main theory popped up in my feed last night, and it was in the Times as well, was that it's a Mordaunt Rishi Sunak axis that he's jockeying and ready, so however they make it happen. Then there was all the predictable jokes about Watford managers and Prime Ministers that somehow seem to be analogous were that to happen.
By the way, the target is 131.
Oh, you weren't far off then. 131.
They're saying
off
Australia
12.
needs 130. Cricket Info was saying 131. This is interesting.
Oh,
it is 130. Cricket Info's amended it.
So they've made so England effectively scored 129, having scored. What did they really score? They really got 112. 120. I don't think that's adding quite enough, Judy. That's less than our 20 messes, isn't it?
Yeah, but then again, they did get 2 extra overs in the power play that Australia won't get. So you sort of adjust for that as well.
Yeah, the power play is what, 4 overs? Is it now? Reduced to 4?
I've got to say, at the end of the day, I don't exactly know how DLS works, but it's a lot better than anything that went before, and there is no way I would be able to come up with something better. It generally speaking comes up with something that sounds pretty reasonable, so I'm not going to argue about it.
It's 130. It's 130 to win, I think. I'm pretty sure it's 130 to win. 12 overs to get it, which means, what does that mean in terms of required run rate?
It means almost 11 per over.
Well, that's going hard from the off, to say the least. It is, of course, going to be, well, it's Finch opening, but it won't be David Warner. No. Is that Matthew Wade? That's a particularly...
We're a bit short of Annie's. Is Annie trying to get in the room by any chance, Tony?
Yes, she is. We are. Sure. How could we possibly forget Annie? That was me. It's Glenn Maxwell. It is Glenn Maxwell going to open. So we'll jingle up. Annie has joined us. Entirely my fault. I didn't hear her knocking.
I was knocking for hours.
As Dave Edmonds once sang, I don't hear you knocking, so you can't come in. Let's jingle up. Well, here's one of them.
Really enthused about this.
Somebody's got something weird going on in the background. Is that you, Annie?
No, I've stopped. Sorry, I had Sky on in the background.
Okay. And the other opener is going to be. Have we got time? Yes. Why not?
If I had $1 million.
Chris Wokes. It's Christopher Roger Wokes. Right arm over, full, and immediately he's lofted high. He's going to be caught. He is caught. First ball gone. Straight to Harry Brook, who was at deep point. He's been taken. Wokes, the wondrous Wokes. They say he can't bowl if he's not on English wickets. He's taken a wicket off the very first ball. Aaron Finch has flown in and flown straight out again. And Australia are 1 for none or 0 for 1, depending on which way you want to look at it. But he has gone. I'm supposed to be playing a wicket jingle, aren't I? Did all that fabulous chat and forgot to actually do the key bit, which was probably to play one of these.
You silly little boy, what on earth were you playing at? Oh.
Well judged by Harry Brook, Annie, wasn't it?
He's done some fabulous catches, hasn't he?
He has. England's. In fact, you could argue, I think, that one of the key differentiators between the two teams in this series, this series of 3, has very much been the fielding, I think.
Fielding, yeah.
England have held catches that Australia
The English
haven't.
fielding's been fantastic. It really has.
That was a fabulous bit of fielding Stokes did the other day as well.
It was indeed.
Yeah.
New man to the crease is famous Western Australian. Am I right, Messrs? I think I am.
Indeed you are.
Indeed I am.
And very well liked by everybody.
Yes, he seems to be. Brother of Sean, of course. Son of Jeff. It's Mitchell Marsh who's edged and taken, and England have 2 in 2. Wokes is on a hat-trick. That skewed off the outside edge of his. Wasn't really a legitimate edge. He seemed to get rather squared up, but it's edged to a sort of a very short third man or an extremely wide and deep
Not a bad
third
start,
slip.
Wokes.
And Chris Wokes has got 2 wickets off the first 2 balls. Mayhem continues. This is bonkers cricket, but all quite entertaining.
Got him! Why did he do that? Unbelievable!
No, I think you should, get rid of this 4-day county nonsense, and
Yeah,
all cricket should be like this, shouldn't it, Annie?
To pinch hitter.
You'd get it over quicker. Kids would love it.
Yeah,
They'd all could wear buckets on their heads. Brilliant.
Absolutely. And then you could, spend the rest of the day going, oh, what should we do now?
You go to the pub. Oh, no, you can't. You're not gone if you're a kid, can you? That's true.
Anyway,
well
nice
caught.
to see you, Tony.
Oh, it's always a delight to see you, Annie.
Yeah.
Always. I've got you on extra heavy duty today.
I know. I mean, I saw. I've done practically the whole game, but hey, I haven't done many, have I, recently?
Well, this was a conversation I was having with Hendo. I was saying, well, the preference would be slightly less Annie, but more often. But
no, you can never have too much, Annie. You know.
Well, or I might have said something like, "She's bloody here. She's not here often enough. Work her when she is." But I could have said that, but I didn't. Smith is in, and there is no hat-trick, I'm afraid, because this is just eased away into the offside. Steve Smith, very much Test match mode.
He does ruin everything, doesn't he? I'd like the hat-trick.
He's just played exactly, tucked everything in behind that. See off the hat-trick ball and pushes it out into the offside. Stokes has come, I noticed, much further forward. We've got 2 slips. 2 slips and it's swung past the outside edge. What a ball by Wokes that was. Beat Smith, neck and crop. He didn't quite get an edge to it. And chasing 11 and over in a curtailed 12-over match, Australia have lost the first 2 wickets off the first 2 balls and have subsequently suffered 2 dot balls. One beautifully defended by Steve Smith.
I love how Steve Smith talks the whole time.
Well, he's wobbling his head and he's scratching his crotch, and that one squares him up, but it does bobble its way out towards point. So Harry Brook will field, and Smith, rather fortuitously, because he wasn't in control of that shot, but he is off the mark. As are Australia, they are 2-4-1. When did they get 2? Did they take?
No, it's two wickets.
Oh no, of course it is 1 wicket. It's a stupid Australian system. It's all back to front.
It's a real shit show.
Well, I've just
we're all in training for the World Cup in Australia.
I've literally just been talking about 2 wickets, 2 dot balls, just taken a single. I was going, how can that be 2 for 1? Nonsense. What ridiculous inverted nonsense. Wokes in again, wide. That is going to be 2 now, because that'll be a wide, I'm afraid. Swished at by Maxwell facing his first ball. Umpire, is that Umpire Najaski? Not Najinsky, Umpire Najaski, but he signals wide.
Umpire Najinsky would be good.
It would be, wouldn't it? What, like the horse or the dancer?
The dancer, I was thinking. I forget about the horse.
Well,
So you can tell I'm not a betting woman.
Well, obviously the horse was named after the dancer rather than the other way around.
It was quite a long time ago.
In comes Wokes. That is also slightly down leg, but it catches a bit of pad on its way through, so it won't be a wide. They don't run. It means they don't appeal either, although DRS timer is
What an over!
Yeah, what an over indeed. 2 wickets, a wide, a legitimate single, and well, any way up really. You can read whichever way you like. It's 2 for 2, Aussie style or English style. It's still 2 for 2.
What a shit show. Okay, Ravi says the random nature of T20s is rendered even more random by the rain. Toss a coin and stick with it until the 9th over at least. Moggs retweeted a thing from Stephen Swinford at the Times about Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng doing their U-turn. He also says, can I just remind you that I hate Mitch Marsh, after me saying everybody liked Mitch Marsh. And Jay Grover says, stop this, it's silly. The bench hitter says Mitchell Mars and Aaron Finch were just keen to get back in the change rooms to watch Kwasi Kwarteng's sacking.
Topley.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Topley's into the attack, and that's a dot ball. Well bowled, Reece Topley. Superb full ball onto the pads of Smith. He does think he's back in test match mode, Steve Smith. He just nudges that into the onside. The nature of the chase is not bothering him. 4 balls, 1 run taken. He's going to play his own game here in his own way. It's another dot ball for England.
They already practically need 2 a ball, don't they?
Topley, left arm, full, driven this time, driven out towards mid-off, and they have to hurry. They do take a quick single. There was a bit more sense of urgency there from former Australian Test captain Stephen Smith. Means Australia move on to 3. It's 3-4-2. Remarkable
or 2 for 3.
Stuff. Or 2 for 3, 3 for 2.
2 for 3, 3 for 2.
2 for 3 and 3 for 2.
Oh God.
Depends which country on what you do. 3 for 2.
You're gonna have to learn to live with another culture's way of doing things for a while.
Well, culture, interesting choice of words, Messrs. As that one is, that one is also down leg and swung a miss, but it was inside Maxwell, who'd moved across. Only that said, we're looking at the flopping mullet of Reece Topley, which is anything but culture, to be perfectly honest.
Stones and glass houses come to mind.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, this mullet look is following on from Australia, isn't it?
Oh, they're dreadful. Whoever's doing them, I agree.
They are
I
absolutely
hate
awful.
Actually, his isn't as bad as some.
This one's short, wide, pulled. That's gone all the way. Glenn Maxwell says, "Thank you very much, Reece Topley. Bowl it short, bowl it wide," and he's pulled that from outside of off over mid wicket, and it's still gone the distance for one of these. Great shot that, Annie.
Yeah, but it was sitting up very nicely for him, wasn't it?
It was sitting up and begging, saying, "Spank me," and that's what he did. 9 for 2 or 2 for 9. I said that with a bit too much gusto, didn't I?
Oh, the porn bot would have so much fun with you doing that.
Down leg really again. Oh, he's discombobbed Reece Topley. He's given another wide.
Oh,
come on, Reece. Get your mullet and yourself in order here.
Look how his shirt's gone onto his arm.
I beg
The
your pardon?
writing on the shirt's gone onto his arm.
Oh, I see what you mean, because he's got sort of a tattooy sleeve.
Tattooy shirts. Just
10-4-2 are Australia. Something of a recovery, you might say. They still need 120 off 62 balls. Topley in again, better ball. And it's a dot ball. There's a ring of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fielders in the offside. And it goes to the man at cover. And it means there is no run. Well bowled Reece Topley. Not quite as explosive in terms of wicket taking, but he'll feel that's a result, having been slapped over mid-wicket the ball before by Glenn Maxwell, who is on 6. Steve Smith has been rather sedate on 2 for 5. And that one's quick and into the ribs of Maxwell, and he turns it round on the 45, but he will only get a single. Means there's 9 off that first Topley over. Maxwell moves on to 7. Steve Smith rather gently onto 2, and Australia are 11 for 2. Messers.
Armchair Cricket Podcast says, see, Australia do need Steve Smith to see off hat-trick balls whenever they may come along. And Anthony Caggiano, who I think this may be one of his first tweets to Guerrilla Cricket, says, watching the game live from my hometown of Canberra. Australia need to get their act together quick, smart. What is going on? Well, that's a pretty good question, Anthony. Yeah. It's a bit of a shit show all round, to be honest.
Well, Chris Wokes is going to be back into the attack. Started off with 2 wickets, of course. Immediately got Finch, who toe-ended it out to deep point where it was taken beautifully by Brook. He's in now this time, and that hits Maxwell on the pad, and it's going to go away. Or was that? I think that was pad, wasn't it? Was that leg buys? 4 leg buys? It's 4, whichever way you look at it. It's just a question of whether they were leg buys or off the bat. I think it was leg buys. Yes, it was. But it is still
you knew.
A boundary.
2 + 2 is on man.
I think it was thigh buys.
Thigh buys. Thigh before you buy. 15 for 2. Smith on 2. He's been, well, as you say, seeing off the hat-trick ball and then strangely defensive. Full, floaty, clever, slower Yorker from Chris Wokes. Well bowled. Bunted away towards Topley, who's at long on. They do take a single, which means probably not the best result for Australia. I'm not quite sure. I don't believe we're quite at the stage, Annie, where Maxwell would turn down singles, but Smith at the crease is not necessarily what they need, is it?
No, it's quite interesting, isn't it? I think Maxwell's definitely on for a charge, and Smith is not. So.
Well, he needs to be on strike to do it, and he's taken the single. I mean, it's rocking a hard place as we wait for Wokes, and he tucks up Smith, and he gets caught in the midriff, but it is going to get him a single. Butler was quite deep, and he can't get there in time. So Smith has got himself off strike with an ugly piece off of the sort of the softer part of his belly.
Smith and ugly. Well, there's an unusual combination.
It was a horrible piece of. It was a lovely delivery from Wokes, who really got Smith horribly tucked up.
Yeah, he's bowling well, isn't he?
He's bowling beautifully. Beautifully. What's he got this time? Right arm over. He comes, and Maxwell this time rocks back and leaves. It was quite close to his body, just perhaps a hint of away movement off the pitch.
That was not what Maxwell was expecting. I
think. No, definitely got up more than he thought. Went past him at head height.
I think he's saying it swung as well.
It swung, it moved. I thought that caught a hint of glove. Don't they appeal?
Yeah.
Have another look at
like
that.
It, didn't it?
Josh Butler doesn't seem interested. Oh, I'd want to have another look at that.
Yeah, that's
Wokes again. That's up in the air. Is there going to be anyone under it? There certainly is. Yep. It's Ben Stokes. Maxwell's gone for 8. He probably should have been out the ball before, but nobody appealed. He's gone this time. Wokes has his 3rd wicket. Maxwell has just lofted it straight to mid-off, and Ben Stokes has said, "Thank you very much indeed. Australia are 3 down for 17. Goodness me." And I get so excited that I completely, once again, forgot the concept is here. Have a jingle on me.
I think the ball before just swung a lot.
Well, it looked to me like it touched his
Well, I'm glad you saw that, Messrs, because that 100% looked like it did. Annie, did you not see it that way, or did it?
No, I didn't see it that way.
Oh well, I trust your
and
younger eyes.
Neither did Butler, obviously.
Well, Josh Butler, the man who's been rubbish in county cricket, but would he? You trust him still? Would you? Is he still in your good books?
No, I mean, it's quite ironic, isn't it, that him and Milan, who hardly have played, I mean, couldn't have played less county cricket, saying there's too much county cricket.
Here, the new man at the crease.
Oh dear.
It's going to be Hendo's newly adopted favourite, Stoynes himself. Here he is.
All the side wants is a Marcus Stoynes. He's the solution, and all the side wants.
Wokes is in. Stokes pushes him past square leg. They will take 1. Do they come back for 2? I don't think they do on this occasion. So it means after 3 overs, Australia need 112 more from 54 balls in that DLS adjusted score. They are 18 for 3 Messrs.
Ravi says, things you expect to hear on Guerrilla Cricket number 319. This mullet look is following on from Australia, isn't it? And he says, do you need to be 200 mullets short before you have to follow on? Which is a very good question. And then Mog, apropos the question of whether it might have touched his gloves, is, does England need a refresher course on how to appeal? Which I think it
so
might
Mog,
do.
it sounds to me like he saw what we saw, Messrs, and yet nobody seemed remotely bothered. It was extraordinary.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're saying on Sky.
Who cares?
Oh, who cares?
Who cares? We know what we saw. We can trust our own eyes. Although oddly, Messrs and I, our 2 eyes as we wait for Willie.
2 eyes between us. Yeah.
When he drops, is dropped into the onside by Stoynes, he gets a single.
That was a poor run though, because that would if that had hit, he'd have been out. He looked like he was jogging.
I mean, our 4 eyes between Messrs and I is about 130 years old between us.
Well, you've got
Whereas
4
your
eyes.
young eyes, Annie, should have seen what was blindingly obvious to
but
us.
You see, my eyesight.
Blindingly being probably the operative
My
word.
eyesight has deteriorated massively over the last few months.
Oh dear.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry to hear that. 19 for 3. David Willey in again. I haven't found time to jingle him. And beautifully, delightfully played, finally, by Smith, who'd stepped back, just angled his back, guided the ball backward a point, and has rather elegantly procured himself one of these.
2 plus 2 is a man.
Gorgeous shot, wasn't it?
I never thought I'd hear you say Elegant and Smith in the same sentence.
Well, it was unusual, but he steps back, he sees the gap in the field, and he sort of angles it beautifully to get there.
Yeah.
That one is uppishly, but this time not quite far enough. Milan is at backward point, stops with an acrobatic spring to his left. Means David Willey's gone for 6 off his first 2, and it's raining again, to quote Supertramp. Oh, it's raining again.
I'll just interject with Willie gave a lot of width there, didn't he?
He did. Are we going to continue? I wonder. 24 for 3.
You couldn't resist, could you?
No,
Annie?
I couldn't.
As this one is
Can't resist
left.
a good Willie Jack anytime.
Well, not quite left. Well, you two carry on in your smutty schoolgirl manner. I'm attempting to commentate on a ball that is slightly slower ball from David Willey, and it was an attempted pull from Stoinis, but it was foxed by the drop in pace from Willey. I said drop, not
That
droop, Annie, before you jump on me in any capacity.
That won't stop us in trying to distract you continuously.
And he comes again, left arm over. That one slapped high and magnificently
Wow.
by Stoinis. Over cover all the way for one of these. Yeah, it was a half tracker. And he's got very quick wrists, hasn't he? Very quick wrists.
He does, and he looks like he's on a mission. He's got that sort of I'm chewing my gum and I'm pushing my hat down and I'm going for it.
As you do.
That's
Yeah, well, that's why he isn't. He's just another Finch, isn't he?
Somehow in my head I was hearing Fred Astaire when you were saying that. I'm chewing on my gum, pulling on my helmet, slapping it for 6. Oh, no, and off they trot. The Aussie weather. They should have played this in fucking Manchester in November. That's what they
They
should
should
have
have
done.
played in Perth. That's where it doesn't. Only place it doesn't rain in
It's
bloody.
30 for 3. Rain
October,
has stopped
November.
play. A couple of groundsmen in a pair of 2 pairs of Mickey Arthur's old shorts are busily pulling out what looks like a piece of old sack to haul
We
over
need
the
to
wicket.
pass over in the ball, don't we, to make a game?
Yeah, they're Nathan Lyon's old shorts. He worked here for 3.5 years.
He
did his.
He was a
groundsman
curator.
apprenticeship.
He was a curator,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Yes, he was, as they are known in Australia. Not groundsmen. No. They are curators.
Well, I was trying to translate it so you understood. You know, I
No,
knew the numbers had confused you.
Now, to
so I
me,
thought maybe
a curator
strange
works in a
curator for
museum.
groundsmen.
Doesn't work with a rake and a fork, scraping away at wickets. But
Well,
there we
speaking
go.
of museums, I don't know if you saw the interview with Michael Hussey earlier on. He was
we
talking about what an interesting bloke Topley was and how he'd gone to the Australian Art Gallery, actually, not museum, I think, and come back with all these sort of erudite things and thinking it was wonderful.
Who,
And
Reece
it was as
Topley
if-
was this?
Yes, and it was
okay.
Mike Hussey was really surprised to find someone so cultured within the English team.
Yeah. Well, and indeed that it was Reece Topley, which is
yes. Mullet and all.
I don't think you can judge a man just because he has a mullet. It doesn't necessarily mean he's lacking in breeding and culture.
It doesn't stop me though.
However,
you know, I shouldn't, but I do.
You do wonder about his taste, though. You do a little.
Yeah.
Well,
If
now
you
look, I wonder how long are we off for? What do we think's going to happen here? Let's talk about something else. Well, let's just tell you, Australia are 30 for 3. It was an extraordinary start to their adjusted chase. They were 130 is what they need. England's total of 112, having been bumped up to effectively 129 by DLS, was supposed to be 12 overs. Looks like that will be further curtailed. So Australia knew they had to crack on with things. And they lost a wicket off the first 2 balls, or both of the first 2 balls, both to Chris Wokes. Aaron Finch was caught at deep point by Harry Brook, and then immediately Mitch Marsh came in, hoiked it high, and was caught by Wood, again off the bowling of Wokes. I think that's wrong. Oh no, Stokes, sorry, I beg your pardon. And Stokes was Wokes' 3rd wicket was caught by Stokes, and it was Glenn Maxwell. Stokes taking that at, I think, sort of mid-off and then running across, from my recollection. Smith and Stoinis are the not-out batsmen.
Let's see, you're in the audience.
7 and 8. And it means
You're in a red condom.
Oh, bugger off!
What? Messi in a red condom.
You are so rude, Annie. That doesn't look anything like me.
It is quite cold. He might need a pullover.
I just saw the white beard, Messi.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the rain radar, and if this was a day game, you say they'd probably be back on in half an hour, 40 minutes, but there may be enough to polish it off today.
Well,
because they're obviously really short on time.
The pub door up the road it will now be open. I'm very aware of that.
I'd say so.
We have some planning and plotting to do, to Bear, Hendo and I. So we're not sure. In a series that's done and dusted, we've probably seen ample entertainment in and out of the raindrops so far.
Wow, who'd be a grounds person, eh?
Curator.
Who'd be a museum curator?
Okay, I'm going to ask Messi then, in his knowledge of all things Australia. Why a curator? Why not a groundsman? Why is it sort of a museum-y word for what is effectively a groundsman in Australia?
Well, I mean, I've got absolutely no idea the
honest?
etymology of that. But they curate, they look after the thing. Groundsman, yeah. I mean, it
makes it sound more
intellectual
somehow. It does make it sound sort of somehow more intellectual, I think. Anyway,
I mean,
why don't you tell us?
Why do football teams have managers and cricket teams have coaches?
Well, they don't.
It's one
always.
of those things.
Watford have coaches, although never for very long. The continental way is to have a coach, so it's not always the same. That's fairly unique to England, I think, to have a manager rather than a coach.
Mark says, I have to admit my eyesight is pretty cropped too. Still looked like there was a glove though. And Jay says, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is Messrs and Tony. This is a terrifying dual regency.
Well, yes. I'm like, my eyesight's still holding up all right, so long as I'm wearing my sort of Mr. Magoo glasses.
Well, I got my laser injections, my laser lenses in both eyes now, so I
laser lenses.
Well, they're multifocal lenses that they took out the original lens because they had cataracts on and put in multifocal lenses which don't need a prescription. Brilliant.
You sound like Superman.
I was about to say somehow I can see him projecting
I'm
sort
the
of killer rays from
man.
each eyeball.
You are the $6 billion man.
Barely alive, but we rebuilt him.
Mog says they should play all major tourneys in Antarctica or the
Iceland. Take it to Iceland.
Never rains there. And Mog says they use curator to cover their inadequacy being a basic bloody gardener.
Well, there you are then.
And Jay wants to go to the pub with you, please. Please let me tag along. The fact that Messer seems to share a history with my father makes this plea even more pertinent. Well, they're not even inviting me to the pub, Jay, so you and I will have to have a virtual drink with one another.
Am I right? There's literally no comments on YouTube today, or is that because we had some technical issues on YouTube?
There are. Don Diego City Pants says one day I will write the book around the world in 18 mullets.
Actually, all
is it a man or is it a woman? Is it a parrot? It's part of my bucket list. And Sudahu says, because cricket is more of a culture in Australia than actual culture, which is presumably what they're talking about in terms of the curator.
Oh no, there's loads of comments on YouTube. I was just looking at the wrong thing. Do you want to quickly
Well,
say
I mean,
hello
it's
there?
sort of
Nice to
internal
meet you.
discussion as much as anything else. It's Sudahu and a couple of other
Well, it's
people.
our friend Don Diego de Silly Pants. Which I
Yeah,
think is a
they're
wonderful
having
name.
a nice chat with each other, but it'll probably bore people. Sorry, guys. It'll probably distract people.
It's fairly niche, and possibly not
It
in
is
the
fairly
broader
niche, I
interest.
think that's
Is that
a good way
what
of
we're going to
putting
say?
it.
Well, we probably should take a break, I suppose, unless you've got more people to want to say hello to.
No, that's about it.
Well, I'm going to use the time then very
Fox
quickly.
is saying we need to restart by 10:39 to be able to bowl the 7 balls needed for a game.
10:39.
So that's another half an hour. Fuck it.
Oh, God.
No, sorry, it's another 20 minutes, isn't it? 22 minutes. The target for Australia under that scenario would be 52 if they're 3 wickets down.
Okay,
which
that's
means
good to know.
They have to score an awful lot of runs very, very quickly.
Well, it will be quite entertaining were that to be the case. I'm just going to keep with the rotor as it is, so not bothering to do another one. If you're on for the number, whatever over they restart on, then you're back. So I think, Danny, you will be...
That's just me then, really.
You will be back. And what's on the Annie Chave radar for the... Now the county season has eased to its wonderful close?
Yeah, I'm going to talk by Mark Ramprakash next week, which I'm very excited about.
Very good.
And going to be talking about my magazine at the same time as well, so that will be in
wonderful.
Bath. I'm quite excited about that. I'm doing a
Correct me if I'm wrong, but do you not have your own YouTube channel now?
I
Annie,
do
for people to
now, yes,
subscribe to?
I'm trying to promote county cricket and friendly cricket on my YouTube channel. So please do. I've got like 230 subscribers. I need 1,000 to get any money from it. So.
I'm one of them. So I'm
Thank you.
So
Thank you. They're very exciting videos. They will get more exciting, and some of them. But yeah, I'm looking for ways to just basically to promote as much as I can county cricket and friendly cricket.
Fantastic. Well, that's wonderful. Well, I think we should probably, that said, go and see if the pub's open. But there may just be more. No, there was something else I was going to do. I'm not sure we had it. Did we have a GPL today, Messrs?
We did.
That would have been shot full of holes, won't it?
I think I was probably the only entry. Hang on, let me check.
Just give us an update on that.
Oh no, there were a lot of entries.
Yeah, there were more after you.
They start at 267, which we're considerably short of.
Okay.
So
that's not going to happen.
I don't think there's any possibility of it being won. So the pot for the GPL will be £174. Now, I think it's a good time to mention when we're going to be on air with the World Cup, Tony.
Do you have the schedule there? Because I don't have that
well,
in
I
front
can
of me.
tell you that the first game we're covering is on Monday. It's the second game on Monday between I think Ireland and Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
In fact, all of the qualifying games we're covering are Zimbabwe games.
It's just the way the timings work out.
Yeah.
The grounds that neither Ben or I want to do 4 or 5 o'clock stints in the studio.
No, I can understand that.
So at 9 a.m. Monday, this is UK time, we will be covering Zimbabwe versus Ireland from Belrive Oval in Hobart. And then on the Wednesday, we've got West Indies versus Zimbabwe at the same time, 9 o'clock.
People are leaving the ground.
We can see you sneaking out.
Yeah, and on the Friday, Scotland versus Zimbabwe. Then the main rounds start on the Saturday. We'll be covering New Zealand and Australia and England versus Afghanistan. And then on the Sunday, India playing Pakistan at the MCG, we will be covering.
We certainly will be on that
as
one.
a minimum. So
Australia,
we will be
New
putting
Zealand,
out a tweet
we're
with
definitely
details
doing. I
around
remember that
all
one.
of that.
Yeah, we'll keep you informed all the way about which games we are covering. If you are a Gorilla Patreon, you will have in your inbox this morning, it will have arrived, is our latest night having a drink at the Bishop and Bear. Our guest was the wonderful Bennett, who was very eloquent and elegant and happy to chat about Sri Lankan cricket. We covered, what else did we cover? This series so far, we looked at the England's best 11, whether Ben Stokes should be in there. We discussed Matthew Wade a bit and what should or shouldn't have happened. We discussed who we think is going to win the World Cup and who's a likely outside bet, and we looked at the squad for Pakistan, and we chatted about that, or England's squad for Pakistan, and continued to wonder at the idea of Liam Livingstone as a Test cricketer. But the proof is yet to be.
He's a baseball Test cricketer.
To be puddinged, so we don't know that. If you also coming out by the end of today, I don't know if Hendo's around. Hendo, if you got 2 seconds, if you could pop in and let us know. It's a bumper. It's an absolute bumper edition of Smaximum. I know Forthies has an article in there. I know I've written one which is quite, well, I think it's quite fun. Following on from Matthew Wade's obstructing the field, we have a little look at who else has been done for it and other strange cricketing dismissals, and give you a little bit of a history and a story behind them. We even have a vote on whether we thought they were out or not, and you have the chance to join in and do that. Not just that one. No, I mean on the other ones. Right. So if you don't know who the only ever player to be given out for obstructing the field in Test cricket is, I'm not going to tell you now. Become a Patreon and you'll read all about it and how it happened.
Stokes was in an ODI, wasn't he?
He was. Don't give the game away, messes. But yes, we do mention Ben Stokes as well. He was indeed, and was possibly unfortunate. GorillaCricket.com, you can find a way to support us, you'll see, and you go there, or patreon.com/GorillaCricket, you'll find us that way. Or you just simply Google Gorilla Cricket Patreon, and in one sentence, and it will take you to the right page anyway. You can join. There are different levels. You get that incredible content. So you can join our Discord chat group. There's some amazing merchandise. You get merchandise after you've been with us for a certain while. You get your roll of honour of your name across the screen. If you are interested in sponsoring us, there's opportunities to do that. And if you have a company or a business and you want us to talk about you, then you can sponsor a whole T20 or even a Test match or a day of a Test match. All of those options are there via Patreon. It's remarkable.
We are awesome, aren't we?
Value. It is. We are awesome.
Well, the things we do.
It's remarkable value.
And there's a free spreadsheet for the World Cup that all patrons have got as well.
There is. Honestly, this is an absolute winner. You get to win. You get a free spreadsheet. Now I know you've been sitting there.
Can't you?
You've been sitting there at home thinking, what I am most missing in my life is a rattlingly good spreadsheet. Well, we've got one for you. Messi has created it. It has been reviewed in all the major newspapers amongst great spreadsheets of our time. He uses every Excel trick in the book to bring you the relevant data in the most relevant and impactful and graphic way. It is literally, if Leonardo da Vinci created spreadsheets, he would have created this spreadsheet. It is that good. I genuinely think he deserves some kind of award from Microsoft for spreadsheeting in the 2022. If they have a spreadsheet of the year award.
Spreadsheet now.
Well,
you've already been sent it. You're a patron.
But you can only get it.
I haven't looked at it. Sorry.
And if anyone from Microsoft is listening, you can't have this spreadsheet because you should be using it as an indication of the flexibility and magnificence of your software. But you can't have it unless you become a Gorilla Patreon. But if you're Microsoft, we might charge you a bit more than a couple of dollars a month. But if you want to come and talk to us, we are here. And we'll happily take your money and tell you what a fantastic product you potentially have. But we're not going to say that now.
Oh, and don't tell us we don't keep you up to date. I can tell you that this very minute, Kwasi Kwarteng has actually been sacked.
He's been sacked.
Well, it's been great, hasn't it, so far?
Messi, can you have a look what the odds are on him being the next Watford manager? I'm pretty sure we're going to go down this season anyway. It'd be interesting to guarantee it.
I reckon the Watford manager will do a better job as Chancellor.
You literally, words fail me. The umpires.
Have you sacked the Prime Minister as well yet?
Well, as we say, there is the Penny Mordaunt and Sunak axis that may happen. Aaron Finch is just wandering off up the tunnel towards the players' changing area, often called a pavilion, but not really here at the Manuka Rover. It's not really a pavilion, is it? The Manuka. Is it in the Manuka? Manuka.
Manuka. You're getting there. You're doing well.
Well, now in my head I remember it's like Larnaca, the airport in Greece or Turkey.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so it's Manuka like Larnaca.
Match has been abandoned.
The match is abandoned. The pubs are open. We are going to love you and leave you. It's been great fun. Thanks. Bye. It has. It has genuinely been magnificent fun. What's actually the result then? No result. It's a no result. They didn't get enough game in, did they, for it to be a result?
No, they didn't.
They didn't. So it's a no result. England have won the series 2-0. Thanks of everybody who's taken part in this one. We are, of course, going to be on air on Monday. Is it Monday or Sunday?
Monday.
Monday.
9 a.m.
Ireland game.
Monday.
Yes, 9 a.m. UK time.
If you didn't know much about Zimbabwe cricket, boy, are you going to by the end of next week. we seem to be covering just about everything they're going to do. We might be covering their under-12s teams, their ladies team, and probably their, who knows, their reserves.
We'll all be wearing Zimbabwe shirts as well.
But they are playing Ireland. They are playing Ireland. They are playing. Who else are they playing during the week?
Are they playing Namibia? Hang on. Sorry.
Give us the full show.
Okay, Ireland, West Indies, and Scotland.
They sound fun games.
Those are the ones we're going to be all over. But for now, we are going to. This game rained off. It's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from the fabulous Annie, who hopefully we'll have back, I think, for India-Pakistan from memory. Am I right?
I think I'm doing what, sorry?
You're India-Pakistan, aren't you down for that
I think so, yeah.
It's goodbye from Messers.
Bye-bye, I'll see you on Monday.
It's goodbye from Hendo, it's goodbye
Bye,
from Bear, it's goodbye from Forthy, and I think that's it for today. Yes, it is. Goodbye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Guerrilla cricket.
Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stones for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Gary Che Guevara, Sangakara.